the ESPN Wisconsin app, which you can find both in the Android and Apple app stores. I'm Jason Wilde in Green Bay. Jesse Nelson is in the Everlight Solar ESPN Madison studios. And from the Gruber Lofts' One Call That's All studios, my third favorite punter of all time. Sorry. He is Brad Nortman of KBN fame and the man who owes his entire career as he left the world of high finance to be with us. It is Brad Nortman. Norty, good morning, buddy. How are you?
Doing great, Jason. Thanks for having me back on. This is, every time I rejoin Wilde Tausch, I'm reminded of those early days when I would take half-day PTOs in order to really grind away at this radio career. And, upon reflecting on that, it leads me to believe that Wilde Tausch is an incubator of sorts, right? Where it takes a young cellular organism like me and grows me into what I am today. I owe it all to Jason Wilde, Jesse Nelson, setting me up for success. And I won't forget those days of doing Wilde Tausch in the morning, taking half-day PTO, cruising back to the office in order to get a little bit of work in. So that's one takeaway. The other takeaway, as you brought in the show, so lovely as you always do, it's good to know that media members get confused and lose track of days at some point during camp as well, because little old me, being a punter, had plenty of camps, though, where I'm like, wait, what day is it? Is it Sunday? It feels like a Tuesday, but we got practice and there's a game week coming up. It's confusing. It's crazy. I thought it was only for players and coaches, but media members as well. What do you know?
Yeah, first of all, let me clarify something, because that was, in case people didn't catch the drift of this, completely tongue-in-cheek. The career you have built and the team that you guys have at KBN, while a little bit of groupthink from what I hear, is great, and you are a natural at this. We deserve zero credit other than who thought you might be good at this. That person deserves credit because they were right. Is it Jesse?
Well, it was Jesse and Tom Olson, who was the market manager of ESPN Madison, now market manager in ESPN Cleveland. And yeah, I mean, I guess I don't even know, and Jesse can hear us. I don't even know how my name came across their radar, but there is Jesse right there doing the old Jordan hands in the air. I would actually love to know, Jesse, how did you come across my name? Because basically you guys reached out to me. Tom and I are the same age. We played basketball as youths years ago against one another. But I had recently moved back from Jacksonville, was working in finance, and they thought I'd be a good fit for ESPN Wisconsin College Game Day, which I will once again be a part of this upcoming season. But Jesse, how did that all come together? Because that kicked off opportunities for Wilde Tausch, which eventually led to KBN.
You were like 8th on our list.
You just can't help yourself. Great here he's pulling his heart out, giving you credit, which you don't get around here very often.
Former quarterbacks were great. Their perspective on the Badger football team and playing in the NFL, and then some running backs, RBU here in Madison, and defensive player, linebackers, and maybe there's been a couple of successful tight ends who have gone and had some great careers. Where okay, these all make a lot of sense for what we're doing. And 8 interviews later, let's call the punter and see what he's got. And it was good enough. We said, okay, show starts next week. You're in.
Well,
what I'm hearing,
I'm glad you did it, Jeff.
I'm hearing I'm like the Tom Brady of quarterbacks, right? Where there's a level of I'm overlooked, I'm a late round draft pick, and what do you know? When the opportunity arises, maybe not being exactly like Tom Brady, but undervalued like Tommy was. Too far?
Nah, sure, maybe.
Aaron Rodgers, maybe another one, falls in the draft, chip on his shoulder. Now I'm really going to have a chip on my shoulder, Jesse. Now I'm really going to have a chip on my shoulder. I didn't know that was the bargain bin of possible options of Wisconsin College game day.
I
Who
might
knew?
be exaggerating.
Look at me
you
now.
were probably like 5th or 6th, probably, if I remember correctly.
My God.
Yeah.
That doesn't help. That doesn't anything worse than the top 3 is offensive. And now I'm going to really conduct these radio shows with a chip on my shoulder. Big chip on the shoulder now.
Well, now that we've gone from talking about how far you've come and how we played a small role to you comparing yourself to Tom Brady, I think we'll move on. Although, hey, like Tom
Very
Brady, your photo on Wikipedia makes it look like you're a quarterback. So again, maybe there's more comparisons than I'm giving you credit for. All right, I want to get into football, obviously, but Jesse, I see that Brad has his Brewers. Is that a batting practice jersey you've got on there? Are you going to go take some cuts in the cage?
Yeah, it's like the official team gear. I'm an official team guy, right? You know, they send only the best players, only the best stuff to the players. So this is actually fairly new. It takes a lot, given all the issued gear I've received over the years, right? Early days at KBN, I saw how many days straight I could wear free issued gear that I received from Wisconsin and Carolina and Jacksonville. And it went 81 days. 81 straight days with no repeats. So I don't have a lot of reason to re-up my closet, but my Brewers gear certainly needed a re-up. So this is the first time I'm wearing this t-shirt. First time, official Brewers gear. What is that? Do I look pretty good?
You look great. I'm a little surprised Jesse doesn't have his Brewers gear on though, or his I love Craig Counsell shirt, which I know he keeps in his closet. Is there a reason for this, Jesse?
Yeah, I'm pulling double duty today, too, just like Brad. So Brad's hosting 2 shows. He's on here from Wilde Tausch, and then, of course, his show, Kyle Brist Nortman, in the afternoon. I'm filling in on Jim, Matt, and Molly this afternoon. We're going up to Trapper's Turn in the Dells for the NFL Alumni golf outing. I guess punters aren't invited. That's unfortunate. So, but the NFL alumni golf outing going on at Trapper's Turn, I'll be hosting with Molly Brown there this afternoon. So, had to go with the station gear today, but in my heart of hearts, and when I get home tonight about 6:35, just in time for first pitch, I'll be throwing on the yellow Brewers shirt, and I will be cheering on the squad for a massive, I think they're branding it as the Statement Series against the Chicago Cubs. This is going to be a fun one here the next 3 nights at American Family Field.
All right, so set the scene for us, Jesse. So they are tied atop the NL Central, correct?
Tied for the top spot in the NL Central standings, tied for the best record in the National League. Brewers and Cubs, massive series. They play 8 times remaining in the regular season, all of which will be in the next 3 weeks, I think. Including, and maybe it's 4 weeks, including the doubleheader on August 18th. Basically, over the span of the next month, the Brewers and Cubs play 8 times, and it may or may not shape who wins the NL Central and owns tiebreakers and potentially has home field advantage through the NL playoffs, which is crazy to think about.
Interesting that that's over the next 4 weeks, and there's not anything in September, though, right, as you come down the stretch.
Yeah, it's one of the things that I think baseball's messed up. They went to this balanced schedule 2 or 3 years ago where you now play, like you only used to play one division from the American League, and then you played maybe one team from the NL East 3 times and the rest 2 times, and however that worked out. They changed their scheduling a couple of years ago where now you play everybody evenly. So it's cool that the Brewers every other year, they go to Fenway Park and Yankee Stadium and Seattle like they were last week. And you get to go to places and play teams you don't normally play more consistently, but it takes away the division rivalries by balancing the schedule, where now the Brewers and Cubs, you only get 2 series against the Cubs at American Family Field every year. You only get 2 series at Wrigley Field. You only get 2 at Busch Stadium and vice versa. So I think that's been a bummer for baseball, that you've lost some of the traditional rivalries in the interest of balancing the schedule. For fairness, it makes a lot of sense. But it's a bummer that, we don't get to see the Cubs 3 times. We don't get to play the Cubs in September in a pennant race with all this on the line. It is a little bit of a disappointment, I got to admit.
Well, Nordy, you've got your game face on. You are ready for Cubs Brewers, obviously. Although you got a lot on your plate, and you're going to have more on your plate. Will it be before the World Series that you have more on your plate, if you know what I mean?
Yes, it will, because actually today marks 34 weeks for the first lady of the Nortman estate, as I lovingly dub her on KBN. My wife, Lexi, is pregnant, and we are well into it, guys. We are on the home stretch. We're in the red zone, some might say, when it comes to the delivery. And yeah, so she is to the point now where she is very pregnant, and she's handling it like a champ. She's doing great. And it's one of those things, though, I'm going to miss some things about her being pregnant. That might sound crazy. That might sound strange. But for instance, September 8th due date. So we are well within the range of possibly delivering this baby. But until then, Friday night, Lexi and I went to Pfizer Forum. We went and saw Nate Bargatze. He was a stand-up comedian, and he was great. It was hilarious. It was a great show. Much needed date night for the First Lady and I. But, we don't really do a lot outside of our family and friend group, ways of like dates and things like that. So this is the first time that we'd been out in quite a while. And boy, oh boy, if you're a pregnant woman, the world rolls out the red carpet for you. I couldn't believe the type of access and treatment that we received. I'm going to miss that. I kind of want to go out and do more stuff now, because when we were, obviously there's Pfizer Forum, huge line to get in, security, the whole thing. People were waving us up. Oh my goodness, this woman's pregnant. Come on up for the front of the line. We said, sure, I would love to do that. You go up there, huge line for the women's bathroom, right? But, pregnant women got to go to the bathroom. And so all these ladies were like, oh, this poor pregnant, why don't you go up into the front of the line? Go ahead, come to the front of the line. You go ahead of the rest of us. So she skips like 15 minutes worth of people. Not only that, you go to the concession stands. And one of these things that Lexi has right now is she loves chewing ice. I guess it's one of the pregnancy cravings of sorts or whatever. So as I get, a drink and she gets a water, she asks for a cup with ice. And, it's very regulated, right? Very regulated when it comes to the concession stands and stuff. And the guy goes, I can't do that. Can't do that. And she goes, but I would really love a cup with some ice in it. I'm pregnant. Can you help out a pregnant woman? And the guy looks around, sees if his manager's looking around, and he goes back, he takes a cup, scoops up the ice and gives it to her. And I had a happy bride on my hand. And then finally, on the way back, so we went to Pfizer Forum, and then we parked in a parking structure, but on the way back, again, Lexi had to go to the bathroom. So we stop at this pretty nice hotel along the way. We're like, maybe we can just stop in and use it. Well, there's the key card lock on the lobby hotel doors. So I was like, Lexi, can we just hold it and we'll just try to get home? And there were some people that were staying there, and Lexi goes up to them and goes, hey, you guys staying here? And they said, yes. And she's like, I'm pregnant. I really have to pee. Would you mind opening it for me? Sure enough, they open up the door. I can't believe this was not even exerting effort. And people were just rolling out the red carpet, whatever you want, skip the lines. I mean, she's earning it. I will add that. She is earning it by carrying this now 5+ pound baby in her tummy. But man, oh man, did I enjoy the access that being associated with a pregnant woman gave me. I'm going to miss that in 6 weeks.
So if I was a dude in this line, I would say, no, you stay back there. She should totally go up there. She's the one carrying a kid inside of her. You, on the other hand, your role here, first of all, your role has already been covered. And until that person arrives, you don't really have any responsibilities, sir. You keep your butt at the back of the line there, Slim. But that's great. And so again, I do think that women do and I understand this is not universal, but I do think women do a better job of looking out for each other than dudes do. So I love the fact that they're being thoughtful for her. And how was Nate Bargatze? Because he threw out a first pitch of the Brewers game, didn't he?
He sure did. He was hilarious. I mean, just banger after banger, an hour's worth of just unstoppable after. So it was really great. The guys ahead of them, the openers were really good. So very unique experience going to a stand-up comedy show. I really like stand-up comedy, and he is really, really good. If he ever comes back around, anyone that's listening, I highly recommend it.
He's a clean humor guy, right? My kind of guy, where not very vulgar show, doesn't rely on that to try and get some laughs. It's very witty and actually intelligent and fun humor.
Yep, completely clean. I mean, we saw like kids there that were, I don't know, I would estimate 10, 13, 15 years old, kind of in that range. But yeah, completely clean. And honestly, I think it lends itself to a higher level of comedy when you don't have to rely on anything that's, pushing against, verbal boundaries or whatever else. I think it takes a real true sense of wit, observational, and delivery to be able to pull that off. And he was so good.
Well, I'm glad you had this VIP treatment because, as Geriad points out in the YouTube comments, punters don't usually get that. So good thing you have a pregnant wife to lead to that opportunity for you.
No wonder I loved it so much.
The Packers do have some specialists, but that's not what the story is going to be today. The first practice in pads of training camp, 4 practices in already that were in shorts, jerseys, and helmets, or as Matt LaFleur called them, in underwear. That all changes today at 10:30. Packers getting ready for family night, which is at the end of the week, but they've got a few padded practices here ahead. Now, we will get to all that. I do want to talk a little bit about someone who, and I keep hearing Tausch's voice in my head, where every time I say Nate Hobbs, he says, "Oh, I hear he's physical." Well, guess what? So physical during non-padded practices that he got a talking to from his head coach about it. We'll get into that coming up after we hear from Old T telling us about Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. With Brad Nortman as our cousin sub of the day, it's Wilde Tausch.
ESPN Wisconsin's Mark Tauscher for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. For windows with the strongest resilience, you need the Pella Experience. The Pella Experience Center lets you see, feel, open, close, and compare dozens of windows and door options from 7 different Pella lines, all side by side. Stop by soon, because if you order by July 31st, you can get 0 interest for up to 5 years. Certain restrictions do apply. Visit the Pella Experience Center in Brookfield or schedule your free in-home consultation today at PellaWI.com.
This is Wilde Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella today, 855-PELLA-WI, and online at PellaWI.com/radio.
Mark Tauscher here for the great team at Everlight Solar. There's a bunch of energy and excitement around the start of brand new football seasons in Green Bay and Madison. And speaking of energy, the start of a new football season could also mean the start of a new way to power your home. How would you like to start saving money while also helping save the planet? All you have to do is make the switch with Everlight Solar. Our family is one of many who have made the switch to solar over the last several years. We knew we had wanted to, but weren't exactly sure where to even start. That's when we met with the Everlight team, and they outlined the entire process and educated us on the benefits of making the switch. It was super simple. Join us in saving a ton of money and creating a greener environment for our family and the community by switching to solar. Learn more and schedule a free consultation at everlightsolar.com. That's everlightsolar.com.
First of all, I love bringing this to the public.
The Rich Eisen Show.
NFC North, top to bottom, you could say this is the best this division has ever been.
Coming September 2nd on ESPN Radio, ESPN Plus, and on Disney Plus.
Attention business owners and executives. Looking for a bank that's invested in your community as you are? Look no further than Starion Bank. As a Dane County community bank, Starion offers competitive deposit and loan rates while actively supporting local initiatives. Visit a business banker at one of our convenient branches in Middleton, Monona, and Sun Prairie. Starion Bank, full-service business banking, lending, and cash management.
The search for luxury begins at Audi Madison. Save $5,500 when you purchase or lease a new 2025 Audi Q7 55. National customer credit is good toward the purchase, finance, or lease of a new Audi, but is only available until July 30th. Why drive something ordinary when you can drive something extraordinary? Stop in and test drive today. Check out AudiMadison.com to see current inventory and specials. Start your adventure at Audi Madison today, off the Beltline and Rimrock Road.
Get ready to unleash the dragon at Hard Rock Casino Rockford. Introducing the region's very first $1 million Dragon Link slot games. With jackpots soaring to $1 million, your chance to hit it big is here. Come experience the ultimate gaming adventure. Visit Hard Rock Casino Rockford today and play the $1 million Dragon Link slot games. Your legendary win awaits. Hard Rock Casino Rockford. Let's hard rock. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or text ILGAMB to 833-234.
Ever thought about hitting a golf ball in Camp Randall Stadium? Well, now is your chance. On August 1st and 2nd, you can enjoy a VIP experience while hitting tee shots from the upper deck throughout the stadium down to custom greens on the field below. Start and end your round with great music, cold beers, food, and numerous golf challenges. Event is open to all ages, but hurry because tee times will go fast. Go to upperdeckgolf.com to book a tee time today. That's upperdeckgolf.com.
When you've been injured, you need a winning team on your side. Gruber Law Offices will fight for the results you deserve. Call Gruber Law Offices today, a proud partner of your Milwaukee Brewers. One call, that's all.
Mark Tusher here for Chalmers Jewelers. I've been a big fan of Scott, Garrett, and the whole team at Chalmers Jewelers for years now. I go there, my friends go there, and most importantly, my wife loves it whenever I get her something from Chalmers Jewelers. It's my go-to spot for birthdays, anniversaries, and any special occasion. For quality jewelry and a great experience, choose Chalmers Jewelers, the place to go for that perfect gift. Stop at Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton and Madison.
Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton
and Madison. For official rules and more information about every contest on 100.5 ESPN, visit ESPNWisconsinContests.com. That's ESPNWisconsinContests.com. You're listening to 100.5 ESPN and the ESPN app.
We're on the Packers.
There's a lot of guys that have shown they've belonged.
Because we're on Wisconsin Sports.
I don't know if they've shown that they have staying power and that they're really, really good.
Nobody covers the green and gold like 100.5 ESPN.
It's a beautiful day. Sky falls, you feel like it's a beautiful day. So let it get away on the road. But you got no destination.
Brad Nortman is our cousin sub of the day. Cousin subs, we believe in better. Are you doing double duty? You're doing 3 hours with us and then 3 hours with the groupthink crew of KBN?
I am. And easy on that groupthink, moniker for us,
That's
Jason.
Tausch's theory. Just to be clear, that
it
is
is.
Tausch's
There's
theory.
not groupthink going on 2 to 5.
If anything, it's reflective of how we've grown as a show. We are now becoming one mind, one heart, one being, if you will, as KBN. But yes, indeed, I'm going to be on KBN from 2 to 5 as always. We're actually going to be at Potawatomi Hotel and Casino this afternoon. So it'll be fun to be back there. And, it'll be a great show as always, as there's so much to talk about. I know we're going to get into today, but Packers, Brewers, it's just a great time to be a Wisconsin sports fan.
All right, Brad. I know you were a very physical punter. We always hear Sean McDonough's call of your "It's a fake, great call and great execution." How many tackles did you make during your career? And you're a big dude. Obviously, you and Joe Thomas, very similar during your days growing up in Brookfield. Physical specimens. How much physicality did you bring to the field?
Well, Jason, I'm so glad you brought this up because like I have some rushing stats in college, and yes, my social media page is me throwing a football as my picture. I actually have 2 tackles to my name when it comes to the official NFL stat sheets. And wouldn't you know, one of those tackles was on none other than Tyreek Hill. Now, there's a small disclaimer with that. Small disclaimer. If somebody goes out of bounds or you force somebody out of bounds, they give a tackle to the guy that's nearest. And I happened to be nearest to Tyreek Hill, but I say that I punted it. He kind of did one of those long sweeping punt returns crossing the field. And I tried to, filled that gap on the left-hand side. And I tried to, shimmy my body to force him out of bounds. He could have cut back. He could have made a career decision to try to take on me, but he wisely submitted himself out of bounds. So I thought smart career move by him. And I have a tackle on Tyreek Hill. The other tackle is a true authentic tackle. And I contend I should have another half tackle because I got my nose in there one time against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But, the problem for me wasn't the physical part. It was catching them. Catching them was the hard part. But physicality, part of the game that the Green Bay Packers are going to figure out real quickly here in an hour once they put the pads on.
So yes, Tyreek Hill making a good career decision for you, not necessarily for him. But we're glad you were safe and sound and able to tell the story. Now, the reason I bring up physicality, obviously, is the fact that they will be in pads today, which, Matt LaFleur told us yesterday there is going to be some tackling during the course of training camp, which he has shied away from in past years. Did a little bit of it on family night last year, but it sounds as if there will be more of that this time around. But the problem, if you want to call it that, is that Nate Hobbs got a little bit of a head start on the physical portion of practice. And look, non-contact is a relative term, right, in practice, because it's not like guys aren't touching each other. It's kind of like how basketball is theoretically a non-contact sport. There's plenty of contact in the NBA and plenty of contact on a basketball court. But Hobbs took it too far, and Matt LaFleur felt the need to admonish him about it. And those who listen, and Jesse backed me up on this, I made the mistake of telling Tausch that I watched a few games of Hobbs with the Raiders when the Packers signed him.
Yeah, you did.
And I observed that he is physical. So now
because you watched 2 drives in that one game with some of the highlights on the NFL League Pass that you found on YouTube of one game. All the good, that if that was Tausch.
I don't,
I
was going to say, that was a very good Tausch imitation. So I think I watched 3 games. Dude broke his arm because he's so physical, and he missed like 5 games last year. That is his brand. And he's not the biggest dude, but he plays with that attitude and swagger. He knocked down Dontavion Wicks on a play that everyone went, ooh, and Wicks was slow to get up as a result. My question for you, even though you and J.J. Jansen and Graham Gano and the specialist crew weren't exactly throwing down, he is violating kind of the unwritten rule of non-padded practices, and that's why the coach felt... let me be clear before I ask Brad this question. They need guys like this. You want guys like this. You just want them to kick the crap out of the other guys, not your own guys, and especially when the practices are not designed to be that way. Is that fair, Brad?
That's exactly fair. That's really well said, Jason. When you have a guy like Nate Hobbs that brings a certain level of physicality and intensity, it's frustrating during fall camp, but you celebrate it on Sundays in the fall because that type of mentality is something that I think this defense needs to continue to foster. And, a guy like that at the cornerback position, it's not common, right? I mean, for all as great as Jair Alexander was in coverage, a lot of fans, and rightfully so, would get upset, particularly since his shoulder injury, how he wasn't the kind of guy that would be willing to throw his shoulder in there when it comes to a tackle, taking on a block, or even a wide receiver. So your Packer fans will be happy, and the coaching staff will be happy when Nate Hobbs is wearing green and gold on Sundays in the fall. But until then, it can breed frustration because you're right. It is an unwritten code that the health of the team is of utmost importance, right? That's more important than anybody looking good on any certain day, staying up. You hear coaches say that all the time. Stay on your feet, get off the ground, and don't don't break that boundary of trust that players have to have with one another, because guys want to get out there, and Nate Hobbs particularly, right? The Packers don't know him, right? The players are trying to evaluate him just like the coaches are. And there's probably a sense of him signing a free agent contract coming in that feels like, not only am I physical, but I need to prove myself. And he needs to do what he can to, harness that and not let it go too far. I applaud it, but it can become a real frustration. And you always see, not yet, but maybe in a week or two, you start to see fights happen at training camp.
Mm-hmm.
It's something like this that could spark that, right? Where it's the third week of training camp. We're all tired and sore. And then there's just a hit that's just a little bit too late, or somebody goes through the whistle and frustrations overflow. So it's something that he needs to harness, but they're going to be thankful that they have him come Sundays and fall. But on the other side, I will say it's a difficult ask to try to go as close to full speed as possible, but to, put the brakes on and stop yourself from finishing out the play. It's one thing that I think guys will be a little bit thankful that they have pads on today, that they can let themselves go a little bit, because it's easy to say. It's not particularly easy to do, to say, let's go full speed at practice. Let's take this seriously. And then, in the final several seconds, to really put a governor on your body and slow down and not do something that's a natural football play.
So, and again, I give you a hard time, but you played in this league, and it's not fair the way we talk about specialists, but that's what happens. And to be honest, right, your own teammates would do that, right? You guys, how easy you have it in practice. Like, you had to endure that. I don't want to call it bullying, but teasing. Fair?
Oh, very fair. And honestly, it was it's an outlet for guys. Like, they're going through it 100 times what we are, right? And so in order to sort of let that frustration out and cope with it, to poke fun at the specialist, it's part of the job description, for sure.
Brad and I have this in common. I don't know if you know that, Jason, because I was in the pit percussion in the marching band in high school. And the pit percussion, while everyone else is outside learning their marching drills and sweating their butts off and trying to learn all their music from memory, we're inside in the air conditioning playing the xylophones and doing all that. And then we come out like later, and they're all like, "Oh, there's the pit percussion's coming out now." And they're like, "Oh, you guys better know it because you're the..." So Brad, specialist, pit percussion, one and the same.
Jesse, it's for the health of the greater team.
Exactly. Yeah, someone's got to be on beat. Someone's got to get those trombones in line. That's us. Cymbals.
So as much as I enjoy the sidetracking into the pit percussion realm, Brad, when your recollections of training camp, how do things change on a day like today? Maybe not for you, but certainly for the vast majority of this team when the pads come on and the intensity ratchets up.
Oh, man, this is a day that I can remember quite vividly, right? You always remember the first practice, then first day of pads, particularly when everyone's body feels pretty good. There's a level of, like, it felt like the last several days were glorified walkthroughs, right? That it was fast, it was rolling, but there was a level of tameness to practices without pads. When the pads go on, you're reminded of that crack when pads and helmets hit one another. And guys can operate at a faster speed. They just can. When you have no pads on, you are slowing yourself down so much, unless you're kind of in the open field. But now, when it comes to the trenches, the O&D line, linebackers and running backs, and even the perimeter with the cornerbacks and wide receivers, there is another gear that these guys hit. And the crack of the pads, it makes you feel like football is really back. And I just remember being there when I wasn't, firmly focused on punting, and I'm watching practice. It is a day where you are reminded of how physical this game is, how talented these guys are on the field, and the power that they possess, because it's something to behold. After this, it's sort of everyone settles in, and maybe it becomes, a bit more regulated. But first day of pads, man, if you're a football player, you look forward to this. And there have been guys that have been waiting months because in the offseason, during the April, May, June mini camps, like you're not doing this. You're not going to play the game of football with pads like they will today. So a lot of guys haven't hit since the Green Bay Packers lost to the Philadelphia Eagles in the playoffs. So this is a long time coming. Guys' bodies feel really good, and they can actually take a step forward, and a guy like Nate Hobbs can show even more so what he can bring to the table.
I'm just glad he broke the rules to show how physical he is, so when Tausch eventually gets back from his summer sabbatical, I can point out that he went out there and proved exactly what I had been saying about him while he was making fun of me. So that's a win for me, but maybe not a win for everybody else, especially not Dontavion Wicks, who was on the receiving end of some of those hits. We will see what happens. Practice starts at 10:30, but they really don't start ramping up until about 11 o'clock. We will be out there to watch as Ray Nitschke Field is the center of the Packers universe today for the start of padded practices. You know who else will be there? I saw their team there the other day on the sideline. Associated Bank. They've been with the Packers since their very beginning. They've been with us since the very beginning of our show, and they're the best bank in the business when it comes to customer service. They've got the awards to prove it. So go to associatedbank.com, find out more about early pay, find out more about credit monitoring, find out more about their fraud protection program, and find out about Brewers, Badgers, and Packers checking, all at Associated Bank. Go to associatedbank.com to learn more. More with Brad Nortman, our cousin sub of the day. Cousin subs, we believe in better. It's Wilde Tausch.
Your state, your teams, your ESPN. The ESPN Wisconsin app. Customizable just to you. Find the ESPN Wisconsin app in the Apple or Android app stores today.
Mark Tauscher here for Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie, the name you can trust. Well, training camp practices and preseason games are great opportunities for the guys up in Green Bay to make sure they're fully ready for their regular season performances. Well, if they didn't work on things before the games count, there could be some big mistakes that happen in the regular season. Well, the same goes for car maintenance. Get your vehicle checked before you go on a long road trip or an issue comes up during an important, busy time in your life. There is no better vehicle service team than the team I trust over at Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie. Get a tune-up, check the battery, check your tires, change the oil. Make sure all the inner workings of your vehicle are in tip-top shape so you can focus on the fun of getting from place to place for whatever your next adventure holds. Schedule a service appointment, view vehicle inventory, and learn more about all they have to offer at ZimbrickChevrolet.com. That's ZimbrickChevrolet.com. Fix any issues before it counts. When it comes to your vehicle, take my word for it and trust the fantastic team at Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie. The name you can trust.
All day, every day. The Carbless Talk and Text line is open for you. 844-770-3776. The Carbless Talk and Text line. This is more.
Join the Madison Money Guy, Christian Finfrock, for Retirement Income Strategies, Saturday and Sunday mornings at 7. Get the information you need as you plan for retirement. That's Retirement Income Strategies, Saturday and Sunday mornings at 7. Investment advisory services offered through Retirement Income Strategies, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
It's always a beautiful experience coming out to the ballpark. Many fans prep in the parking lot amongst our legendary tailgaters. When you're ready for new windows and doors, prep for those at the Pella Experience Center in Brookfield. See, feel, open, close, and compare dozens of window and door options from different Pella lines side by side. And if you order by July 31st, get 0% interest for up to 5 years on Blue Mountain Road, or visit PellaWI.com today.
When it comes to your health, do you want to buy something online or do you want to meet with someone local? A local doctor with a family-owned business that cares about you. That's right, you want to meet with Nestor Rodriguez and Ashley Rodriguez at Carbon World Health. You have questions about cryotherapy, red light therapy, hormone replacement treatments, GLP-1s, or you just want to have a great workout. Carbon World Health is there for you. They have a new location in Sun Prairie and they have their original location in Madison. So when it comes to your health, there's nowhere better to go than Carbon World Health in Madison and now in Sun Prairie.
This update sponsored by UW Credit Union. For every stage of life, UW Credit Union is here for every you. Fans, here is the Quick Trip to the Ballpark ticket offer. Spend $200 at participating Quick Trip locations and get a free Terrace Reserve ticket to a 2025 Milwaukee Brewers home game. Check brewers.com/quicktrip for more details. Join UW Credit Union at uwcu.org. Insured by NCUA.
Summer is here, and there's no better way to celebrate than with Door County Distillery. Hey, it's Alex Rowe. I've been telling you for years how great Door County Distillery is. Locally produced, handcrafted, and award-winning spirits made locally in beautiful Door County. The sun is shining, and so can the Rock Island Rum from Door County Distillery in your summertime cocktail. Otherwise, vodkas, gins, whiskeys, brandies, and more, it's all available from the award-winning Door County Distillery. Find a huge list of unique cocktail recipes and the retailer nearest you, doorcountydistillery.com. That's doorcountydistillery.com.
Hi, this is Jeff Levering with the Brewers Radio Network. Ridgetop Exteriors, Wisconsin's trusted name in home improvement, does more than just top quality roofing. They're your go-to for maintenance-free siding and energy-efficient windows, too. Ridgetop has expert credentials with leading manufacturers like Pella, James Hardie, and LP Smart Siding. For over 20 years, they delivered exceptional craftsmanship and service. Call Ridgetop Exteriors today or visit ridgetopexteriors.com. Ridgetop Exteriors, where customer service always comes first.
Ridgetop Exteriors.
Your state, your teams, your ESPN. The ESPN Wisconsin app. Customizable just to you. Find the ESPN Wisconsin app in the Apple or Android app stores today.
Getting ready for some trivia coming up next with Brad Nortman in as our cousin sub of the day. Cousin subs, we believe in better. Norty, what's the worst injury you've ever had?
Ironically, it's a torn ACL. Same thing
Really?
that our friend Christian Watson's still dealing with. Yes, it is.
When did that happen, and what was that? Boy, do we have anyone on our team that played in the NFL that didn't tear an ACL? Balaga did it twice. Tausch did it twice. You did it. Did Chewy always had plantar fasciitis? That's like his favorite injury.
Ooh.
Options 1 through 5 for College Game Day all those years ago, I don't think had any torn ACLs, but they're not on the team like Brad is.
Wow.
It's amazing how much Jesse pushes other people down to push himself up. Don't you think?
It is remarkable. It is keeping us all humble. That's Jesse's job.
So when was that? When did you deal with that?
So it was freshman year of high school, so quite a long time ago. That's all the way back to 2004, 21 years ago. Hard to believe. But freshman year in high school, I was playing linebacker, which I played linebacker and tight end throughout high school. And it was a scrimmage on the freshman football team the day before the first day of high school. So we had a scrimmage. I was playing linebacker. There was a sweep basically to the running back to my left. I'm pursuing. Running back puts his foot in the ground, cuts back. I put my foot in the ground, but my body weight continues to my left. And, it's a non-contact injury, one of those things that just the knee gives out. And, they're so quick to diagnose an ACL because that task of pulling on the knee is so revealing. Yep. But yeah, then I was the next day, first day of high school on crutches. So that was a humbling and slightly horrifying experience, but got through it and missed all football and all basketball that freshman year of high school, but then was back my sophomore year to play both and continued on the rest of my career.
So help me understand something. So you become a world-class punter, almost as good as Tim Masthay and better than Sam Veit. But like, did the ACL lead you to then trend toward not playing linebacker and punting? Like, how did it factor in at all? You ended up in the NFL. I don't, again, unlike Jesse, I'm not here to push you down, but I'm guessing you're not in the NFL if you're playing linebacker.
Well, I am not. I'm not playing NFL linebacker for sure. I did, so sophomore, junior, and senior year, I did play linebacker. I did play tight end, not to, sort of pat myself on the back, but I was defensive player of the year as a linebacker in my conference. And I was getting nibbles to play my junior year linebacker at like Ivy League, Middle Tennessee State, Ball State, places like that. And I actually thought I had two options. I would either like go to Madison at University of Wisconsin as a student, or do I want to go to Columbia to play linebacker? Do I want to try to take on a kind of a preferred walk-on of sorts to Ball State and Middle Tennessee State? Harvard wanted me to punt and play linebacker. Could you imagine that? Punt,
Harvard!
Run down the field, and then go play linebacker. Harvard, yes. So, but I was sort of late to the scene of going to a national punting and kicking combine, did really well, shot up the charts, and then that door just swung open. I knew I was a good punter, didn't know I could do it as well as I could on a national landscape. And then when offers started rolling in, I said, whoa, I can go to Wisconsin on a full scholarship and punt. Sign me up. So I basically said, and then showing up at Wisconsin, seeing how those guys were on the field, this isn't even pro football. This is just D1 college, Big Ten. I was like, I made the right decision. I don't belong on this field as a tight end or linebacker. So very good high school player. Maybe could have took some nibbles at the next level. But punting is just clearly where, I was best and was able to maximize that. But nope, I tore the ACL as a linebacker and then got right back on the field.
Well, I did spend some time with Christian Watson, and look, what sucks on a number of levels for him is he made it through last season until the last regular season game really healthy, right? Which was not the case for him his first two NFL seasons. The guys at Badger Athletic Performance on the UW-Madison campus solved the riddle of his hamstrings. He played 15 games. Unfortunately, one of them was the game that ended the regular season when he wasn't planning on playing. He'd suffered a knee injury the previous week to his other knee. And then Romeo Dobbs comes to work sick, and they say, you're not able to play. And so Christian Watson plays, and then obviously tears his ACL in that game. And I have a hard time with the misfortune that turned out to be. On top of everything else, he's in a contract year. So, and Tausch knows this from firsthand experience. It happened to him not once but twice, where he was in the final year of his contract playing for big money, potentially, and it didn't happen because of the timing of his injuries. So now Christian Watson has another reason to want to get back, not just to be productive, not just to help the team, but also to help his own financial future. And so in talking with him, I think he's got the right approach of, look, I want to be out there today, but the medical staff is there to protect me from myself. But again, I'm really eager to see when they have him. Tausch has said before Halloween, I think there's a chance he'll be right. But again, I think they have to be really smart with him because he has so many reasons to push the envelope. And Brad, as you know, things can really go sideways and can be really catastrophic. If you do come back too soon, you're not ready, and then it causes all kinds of other problems for you.
You're exactly right, Jason. There is a delicate balance between pushing yourself, but then making sure that you're ready to play the game of football. Now, I'm not even close to Christian Watson. He is an athletic specimen, and nobody ever doubted Christian Watson when it came to his athletic ability. Saying and doing the right things in the locker room, he is as dramatic as that wide receiver room has become at times. He always says and does the right thing. Can't really say the same thing for his dad necessarily, but for him, he has always been a class act. So when he went down with a torn ACL, I was sick to my stomach, knowing what you just said, contract year and all the things. So for him, when you are a world-class athlete, I can never discount your ability to come back. And honestly, the way that they do ACLs now, way different than mine 21 years ago. So the Halloween, it's possible for sure. And I think his straightaway speed is not going to be affected at all. I think he's
Right.
going to, once he's back on the field, he is going to blaze like he always has. My concern is the physical part of it, of hard cuts when you're running routes, right? Because the ACL, it's more of a lateral strengthening tendon, right? So can you put your foot in the ground and actually have that be stable? That's one thing. But for me, Jason, the biggest thing was the mental side of it. I mean, you just have this hyper awareness of a knee feeling and looking like it didn't before. And it just takes time. It takes time to reaffirm the trust in yourself that it's stable. It's good. I can be who I was. For me, all the way back then as a kid who wasn't even close to Christian Watson, it wasn't until my junior year where I felt like I was really back to myself, maybe at the end of the football season into basketball season, but it just took a little bit of time. So even if Christian Watson does come back around Halloween, maybe sometime in early November, I think it would be an optimistic viewpoint to say, okay, maybe he'll get some plays. We'll put him in a position for him to succeed, right? A lot of straight line and speed. But I don't think it'll be toward the end of the season or maybe even playoffs at the earliest when he feels like, oh yeah, baby, I am back and I feel like me. It sets up an interesting scenario for him and maybe even the Green Bay Packers. Do you bring him back on a 1-year deal so he can prove to the Packers and to the rest of the league he's, able to get more? Because the stats just by nature won't be as good as they possibly could have been. So for him, I think it's still all out there for him for a future contract and all that. It just might take a little bit longer. And I think the mental side of it, that's you can only test in a game and when you're really out there for real. So it's a long way back, but he is a freak of nature, and I would never bet against him when it comes to coming out there and being productive.
Jesse, before we get to trivia, we need to hit the breaking news sounder.
Oh, baby, now this is some breaking news.
Matt LaFleur is down in the media auditorium addressing reporters. I'm upstairs talking to you two knuckleheads. But he announced that Elton Jenkins, the Green Bay Packers starting center, is coming off the non-football injury list this morning. He had a back injury that he came to camp with. He did not practice. Today they are in pads. He will not be going through a full-fledged practice. He'll do some individual drill work to ramp up, but off the non-football injury list, he will be back on the field. And I don't want to say without his contract adjusted because I don't know that, but I feel like his agent would have probably told the world that he had gotten what he'd wanted in terms of his contract if that had occurred. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say that it's not yet occurred. And maybe it's not going to occur at all, and he's got to get to work. Brad, before we get to trivia, your thoughts on Elton Jenkins coming off the non-football injury list and starting to practice, even if it is without a new deal?
Well, it's a step. It's movement. I just hope he is careful and that he just does individual drills, whatever he's careful with and comfortable with, because if ongoing negotiations are occurring, that can create a little bit of drama. But I got to give it to Elton, man. I mean, it would be easy for him to keep his feet in the ground and just say, I'm not doing anything until we meet at least partially halfway. It's not the agent that's telling him, hey, why don't you go out there and play? It's likely Elton saying, you know what? I just can't sit back and watch practice anymore. I have to suit up. I got to be out there with my guys. So if this is all that I can do, I'm going to go out there and do it. So it's a testament to him. Honestly, it makes me want to have the Packers meet him halfway even more. I was sort of on Elton's camp as far as guarantee all, if not some of what he has remaining. But this is a football guy that wants to get out there with his dudes. This is not the agent saying, go out there and play. This is Elton telling the agent, I know we got something in the negotiation here, but I just can't sit around any longer.
Well, we will see what comes of this, but I know that there have been some Packers fans in the YouTube comments and responding to us on other platforms saying, he signed a contract. Again, the general manager has said he can be an all-pro center for them. All he's looking for is money that's already in his contract. It does not appear he's going to get it unless there's been some sort of movement that I don't know. But I hope you're right, though, Brad. I hope that this kind of good faith gesture, right? Getting back on the field leads to something. Because, again, you know this as well as anyone. There are risks when you play football. And if the rest of his contract's not guaranteed, there's financial risks. There's future risks. And he's going to be 30 years old in December. And we know how this team feels about guys that turn 30. We also know how we feel about trivia on this program. Jesse, what's today's category and what color would you like?
It is the sports weekend recap, as is tradition on a Monday. So the sports weekend recap is today's trivia category. You were talking about Christian Watson. How about caller number 9?
Caller 9 right now, 844-770-3776, 844-770-3776. Caller 9 plays trivia presented by Vortex Golf. Next, with Brad Nortman as our cousin sub of the day, it's Wilde Tausch.
First of all, I love bringing this to the public.
The Rich Eisen Show.
NFC North, top to bottom. You could say this is the best this division has ever been.
Coming September 2nd on ESPN Radio, ESPN Plus, and on Disney Plus.
The UW Credit Union member Mark Tauscher here. People ask me, T, why did you join UW Credit Union? Well, is it to keep your banking local? Is it the member first service? Great perks like early payday? Absolutely. But honestly, between us, it's Bucky. I can't say no to that face. If you love Wisconsin like I do, you just can't pay with anything else. Fandom makes us do crazy things, but this just makes sense. Become a UW Credit Union member and get your Bucky card like me. Federally insured by NCUA. Terms and conditions apply.
Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Pablo Iglesias.
This Badger Minute brought to you by your Badgerland Chevy dealers, proud supporters of Badger Athletics. Go to BadgerlandChevy.com. Glass half full approach. Luke Fickell putting a 5-7 season behind him with 2025 on the horizon. The head coach on tackling the new year after the previous failed to meet expectations.
That's not the standard. That's not the expectation by any ways. I was not brought here thinking that that's in any way what it is that we expect. But what last year does do is it gives us an opportunity to be able to self-reflect. It gives us an opportunity to recognize things that we need to continue to be able to change. And I think that's what was most important as we attack December and January for us in our program.
Fall camp begins this week. The Badgers kick off August 28th against Miami of Ohio.
For windows with the strongest resilience, you need the Pella Experience. Get 0% interest for up to 5 years if you order by July 31st at PellaWI.com.
Condon Jewelers, the jeweler on the east side, the jeweler on your side. When you see Diamond Jim, you can count on him to be on your side. Selection beyond compare with on-site repair, so you can wear your jewelry with pride. Condon Jewelers, the jeweler on the east side, the jeweler on your side.
Take your pick. Metro Ford of Madison is bringing the heat this summer. Now through August 4th, get 0% APR financing for 48 months on the 2024 Ford F-150, Escape, Bronco, Expedition, or the 2025 Ford Explorer. $20.83 cost per $1,000 finance. And yes, you can defer payments for 90 days with approved credit. Hurry! Offer ends August 4th at Metro Ford of Madison. Browse their inventory at MetroFordofMadison.com. That's MetroFordofMadison.com.
To help those who want to be helped, but may not be able to afford it.
That's what PGA Tour winner Grayson Murray had envisioned for a foundation before he sadly took his own life at just 30 years old. His parents channeled their grief into creating the Grayson Murray Foundation, carrying out his vision to help those struggling with mental health and addiction. To donate and learn more, visit GraysonMurrayFoundation.com.
The pulse of the Milwaukee Bucks, straight from a Bucks legend.
Can't get it off. Marcus Johnson will, though. You can't leave him alone for a 12.
Tap into Here District with Marcus Johnson on Bucks Plus. Marcus and his son Chris offer a weekly beat on Bucks basketball. Get your questions answered and hear from the biggest names in basketball. Find Here District with Marcus Johnson at bucks.com/plus on the Bucks app or wherever you get your podcasts.
If you want a fresh twist on surf and turf, look no further than North and South Seafood and Smokehouse. Inspired by their time living in the Alaskan Gulf in southern Texas, owners Keith and Aaron brought together unique culinary backgrounds to create a truly authentic American restaurant here in Madison. After expanding to 2 more locations in DeForest and Verona, you can savor smoky, wood-fired barbecue and freshly prepared seafood from around the country. Explore their full menu and dining options at eatnorthandsouth.com. That's eatnorthandsouth.com.
Wilde Tausch on 100.5 ESPN is brought to you by Everlight Solar. Save money, save the planet. Everlight Solar.
Tough to beat Hall & Oates. I was a fan of their work. Time now for one of our favorite things to do. But Jesse, are we drawing last week's winner like ever, or what is our deal here?
All right, well, I wasn't here Friday, so that's on you guys.
No, again...
You were the only regular around here on Friday. This is your ship going down.
You don't have to publicly announce that this isn't your fault. No one was blaming you.
Felt like there was a little blame and a little bit of self-defense I needed to put up there is all.
No,
Jesse, are we ever going to draw a winner from last week? Oh, do we ever get anything right around here?
That was a shot at
a little bit like you were coming at me there.
No, so you weren't on the show, which everyone knows you weren't on the show because you had another well-earned day off. No, it was I don't want to mention them by name, but I had reminded a certain producer we got to make sure we do that, and then we didn't. So now we're going to do it, and you're going to do it.
I got some chips in the cheese fry helmet to draw from last week's contestant. Oh, that sound is sweet. Let's see who's the winner of a Vortex swag bag from our friends at Vortex Golf from last week. It is one of Friday's contestants. I believe, yes, indeed, this was a first-time contestant, Danny in Madison. Nicely done, Danny. You are the winner of a Vortex swag bag. 4 of 5 contestants, first-timers last week. That was fun.
That was fun. Well, guess what? Our contestant today is not a first-timer. Time now for trivia presented by Vortex Golf.
Wilde Tausch Trivia is brought to you by Vortex Golf. Rangefinders you can bet on.
Let's welcome him in. He's the father of the groom. He is Jeff in Monroe. Jeff, good morning, buddy. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
We're great. Thrilled to have Brad Nortman back where it all began. Now that he's a big star, gave up the world of high finance to be on the radio, and we're glad to have him back on Wilde Tausch. He has question 2. I've got questions 1 and 3, which means question 1, Jeff, is this. Which former Milwaukee Brewers player won the Alumni Home Run Derby as part of the AmFam Field 25th anniversary celebration on Friday night? Was it Keon Broxton, Corey Hart, or Sixto Lescano?
Keon Broxton. But I was a big Sixto fan.
Sixto Lescano is, it appears, still with us. 71 years old. Played 12 Major League Baseball seasons. I remember him from my youth as well. All right, question 2, Brad, goes to you.
Okay, that's right. Here we go, Jeff. Question 2. ESPN SportsCenter celebrated its 50 States in 50 Days series with a stop in Wisconsin on Friday. They were on site at which of these events? Was it a race at Road America, Packers training camp practice, or Brewers versus Marlins at AmFam Field?
Packers training camp.
Very good
for
job,
two.
Jeff. That's exactly where ESPN SportsCenter was.
All right, question 3, Jeff. No pressure.
And
Question
Jason,
3 is
I
this.
heard Jason didn't want to stop by walking past the set in the background to make sure we got some publicity for Wilde Tausch on SportsCenter in the 11 a.m. hour on Friday.
Come on, Jason.
That's true.
That's what I heard.
Because that's exactly the kind of attention we're looking for.
Had a nice big
is
Wilde
photobombing.
Tausch hat you could have wore walking right by the set in the background. You would have stole the show.
Yeah, no. All right, question 3, Jeff, is this. Entering play today, which Major League Baseball team is in current possession of the best record in baseball? Is it the Detroit Tigers, as Mike McCarthy might say, the Chicago Cubs, or the Toronto Blue Jays?
Toronto.
Perfect start to a perfect week, 3 for 3. So I'm confused. So the Brewers and the Cubs at one point have both had the best record in baseball. The Tigers had the best record in baseball for a period. Now it's the Blue Jays. Is there a big, like, I don't want to get, I know there's teams in the middle, but are there two extremes in baseball right now? You got the Rockies who won like 3 games all year, maybe a little more than that. And you got all these teams at the top of the heap where they're all kind of jockeying for the best record in baseball.
Nah, I'd say there's 4 tiers of baseball teams right now, Jason.
You and your tiers.
Yeah, there's 4 tiers. So you've got the tier 1s are the teams that are contending for the best record in the league. And that's the Brewers, Cubs, Blue Jays, Tigers, Dodgers. That's kind of tier 1. Tier 2, the contenders with legit playoff opportunities, and that's kind of the Yankees and Astros, like that crew. Then you've got the pretend contenders who are on the fringe, which is a lot of teams because that's how baseball is now as we approach the trade deadline. And then you've got the teams that are just awful, and that's Pittsburgh, the White Sox, the Rockies, and the Athletics. All of the Athletics were winning over the weekend, so not as many in that final tier. But I'd say 4 tiers you can clearly define the baseball teams in.
All right, that is Wilde and Tausch trivia. Congratulations, Jeff. You've got all 4 entries into Friday's drawing. If or if not, we actually do the drawing on Friday. In fact, I believe there's a scheduling snafu, so we're going to have to do the trivia
probably a
drawing
strong likelihood
time.
we don't do the drawing on Friday, if I had to guess this week. Yeah,
based on information just come across my desk. Thanks, Jeff. We appreciate you.
Thanks a lot. Have a good day. Love you guys.
All right, we need to get to the 10 o'clock hour since it's already 10:11. What, was Bulaga on the show today? We'll do that with Brad Nortman, our cousin sub of the day, in 2 minutes. It's Wilde and Tausch.
Don't go anywhere. Another hour of Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, is coming up next on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
Ever thought about hitting a golf ball in Camp Randall Stadium? Well, now is your chance. On August 1st and 2nd, you can enjoy a VIP experience while hitting tee shots from the upper deck throughout the stadium down to custom greens on the field below. Start and end your round with great music, cold beers, food, and numerous golf challenges. Event is open to all ages, but hurry because tee times will go fast. Go to upperdeckgolf.com to book a tee time today. That's upperdeckgolf.com.
This is former Wisconsin linebacker Chris Orr. You're listening to 100.5 ESPN, WTLX, Monona, Madison, a Good Karma Brands radio station on Wisconsin.
Broadcasting live from the Everlight Solar Studio, this is your Metro Kia of Madison Sports Center.
Good morning, Madison and streamers everywhere. I'm Jesse Nelson. Sports Center brought to you by Goodman's Jewelers, the diamond store of Madison for generations. Check them out, 220 State Street and online at goodmansjewelers.com. A statement series at American Family Field starts tonight. The Milwaukee Brewers and the Chicago Cubs, identical 62-43 records entering play tonight. Tied at the top of the National League Central Division standings, tied at the top of the National League with the best records in the league. Brewers-Cubs, rivalry renewed, first of the three-game set tonight, 6:40 first pitch. Pre-game coverage starts just after 6 o'clock right here on Madison's home of the Brewers, 100.5 ESPN. And as a tone setter, The Miz gets the start on the mound for the Milwaukee Brewers tonight. Jacob Mizorowski gets the start on the bump for the first time facing the Chicago Cubs. Brewers-Cubs, 6:40 tonight. Brewers, of course, coming off winning just 1 of 3 over the weekend against the Miami Marlins. It was yesterday afternoon in come-from-behind fashion, scoring 1 in the 8th and 1 in the 9th to top Miami 3-2 with a walk-off. Packers training camp padded practice starting in about 20 minutes.
Metro Kia of Madison, Madison's trusted Kia dealer. Stop into Metro Kia on the east side of Madison or metrokiaofmadison.com.
The 10 o'clock hour of Wilde Tausch with Brad Nortman in as our cousin sub of the day. Cousin subs, we believe in better. Again, heard Matt play this song up at the Door Community Auditorium in Fish Creek on Tuesday night last week and thought, boy, this is about as appropriate of the 10 o'clock hour song as you could possibly have sooner or later. I want to talk a little bit about Mark Murphy. I want to talk about the Packers and the international games that appear to be on the horizon. We'll do that coming up. And then we're going to have a special little ESPN Wisconsin College Game Day segment between Jesse and Brad, who Jesse said was the 7th or 8th pick to do College Game Day, which I didn't think was very nice. But I want to get back on the clock here with this, Brad.
Could have been worse.
It was so hot yesterday. How hot was it? It was so hot that, and again, I'm a savvy veteran, right? This isn't my first rodeo. This is my 29th training camp. It's my 30th season. I brought an extra shirt, extra pair of boxers, and extra socks. So when I went to do locker room after practice, I had a fresh shirt, not sweaty. That shirt was still sweaty by the time I got in the car to go home last night and put it in the laundry. That's how hot it was. And look, I'm not out there exerting myself. I this is my exertion if you're watching on video. I'm taking notes. That was it. That's me. But it was hotter than HE double hockey sticks out there, and it's going to be hot again today, and humid and sultry. Again, with the caveat of you being a specialist, which I hate doing that to you, but also kind of like doing that to you. This is a necessary evil of camp, right? You got to build up that ability to deal with adverse conditions and heat. But do guys love this, hate this, or it just is what it is?
Hate it. Guys hate it. And like traditionally speaking, July and August in Green Bay, Wisconsin's pretty pleasant considering all the different areas training camp is. I was in Spartanburg, South Carolina, which is like, inside South kind of thing, not by a coast, like in the depths of the South. And Jacksonville, Florida, of course. We had training camp at the facility for the Jaguars. And that was hot. I mean, we had days, 90s, 100s, and then the humidity was just off the charts. A stinging heat from the sun. The reality is nobody loves it. It's just all part of the grind of camp, right? There's a common thing that occurs that I'm sure the players still do, is they weigh in before practice, right? They get their weight, and then they have to weigh out after practice. And the purpose of that is that the dietitians and the player themselves can determine how much weight they've lost from water weight, because that's how much they sweat. And it was not uncommon for linemen to lose 15, 18, 20 pounds of water weight, which is a staggering number, even for just punting. Or Jason, if you would have weighed in, if you would have weighed in yesterday, you probably lost 5 pounds of water weight. I mean, it was not uncommon for me to lose 8 to 10 pounds. So it's just something that, it's just something that guys know is just in front of them, right? And I never like equating football to the military. They're different. The military deserves to be held in a higher degree of honor than football for many reasons. But it's not unlike the same idea of like a boot camp, of like of something where you are mentally and physically exhausted. You're separated from the rest of the world, and it's a grind that you come out on the other side better off mentally and physically because you endured it and you went through it. And what these guys are going through now, it's more of an age of these guys are elite athletes. So how can we tune them up to have them be great come week one? My day, and then even for sure, like in Tausch's day and Chewy's day in the 90s and 2000s, they really beat you down. They grinded you.
Yes.
Two-a-days were still a thing to some degree when I was doing it. So those are true mental and physical grinds. Things have changed. The perspective has changed. But heat is just another way to remind you that you can still play the game of football when it's uncomfortable, because it's going to be 0 degrees. You might go play in Miami and experience the same temperatures. There are so many environments where you're going to be uncomfortable. It could be the fourth quarter, whatever it is. And you're going to have to pull from these areas of mental and physical exhaustion to actually go out there and play your best. So guys are thankful when like October comes, but then the Packers are going to be missing this heat when it's, January, and hopefully they have a home playoff game. So I don't miss the days of 90+ degree heat and just baking out there in the summer sun.
Yeah, I would much rather be cold than hot. I do not like being
interesting.
Hot. That has never been something that I've.
So you'd rather go out there for a practice that's 10 degrees as opposed to 100 degrees.
Yes, undeniably. Even if it means that I don't have as warm of a coat as I would prefer to have, and I am cold, like I'm legit cold. I'd still rather deal with cold than being hot. I do not enjoy being hot. That's just, but again, different strokes for different folks, and we'll be out there in a little while here.
Yeah, it's definitely position specific, right? Because if you're going to ask Tausch or Brian Balago, who's a common cousin sub of the day, they would much rather have 20 degrees than 90 degrees. I mean, big guys sweat a lot of dudes in the trenches. If you're a wide receiver or a DB, maybe running backs, I could see Josh Jacobs like in the cold and delivering a blow when guys are a little stiff. But the position guys, I think they like it hot. They feel quicker. The body feels good. Cold, man, that ball gets, that gets hard to catch and it gets stiff and your body just doesn't respond. So everybody has their different preferences. But I found that to be fairly universal. Got big dudes, they like the cold. The outside guys, they like the heat. And clearly, media, we like the cold, or at least if
at least me. I
prototypical.
Yeah. I don't want to speak for the other reporters. Lord knows they have their own opinions on a variety of things. But I'll tell you this.
Punters prefer heat, for the record.
Yeah, and it's probably easier to kick the ball too, right? Like you don't want to kick the frozen rock.
No, there's few things worse than playing in the extreme cold. If it's hot, listen, I don't need to exert myself much. That ball just compresses when it's hot. So I'll take heat anytime over the cold.
Well, we'll get to what Mark Murphy had to say on his way out the door on Friday, including some of the wacky jokes that he delivered in his press conference / stand-up comedy routine that he did with us on Friday evening. But not until after I tell you about Lakeland Supply. They have been a great new partner of ours. Vince and the team over there have been fantastic. We're thrilled to have them on board. And as I tell you all the time about them, core values are an important piece to any successful business, And Lakeland Supply is no different. They've been displaying their core values in the industrial supply space for over 40 years. Integrity, excellence, stewardship, partnership, and faith. They're ISO certified, a Future 50 winner, top rated in customer satisfaction, and they believe in giving back to the community. Lakeland isn't one of those catalog companies either. They work to be your packaging and supply expert, building plans around what you want. Lakeland Supply is in business to make your business better. So set up a free packaging and supply chain assessment at lakelandsupply.com. We continue with more with Brad Nortman as our cousin sub of the day. Cousin subs, we believe in better. It's Wilde Tausch.
This is Wilde Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella today, 855-PELLA-WI, and online at PellaWI.com/radio.
Mark Tauscher here for Pizza Hut. You know I've loved Pizza Hut since the days back when I was in school participating in the legendary Book It program. The summer was always a great time to get in some extra time reading to earn some great Pizza Hut pizza. And now my summer survival kit in Madison is a little different. A cooler full of drinks, a comfy lawn chair, and a large Hut Lovers pizza from Pizza Hut for just $12.99. Choose from 4 loaded legends: meat lovers, pepperoni lovers, veggie lovers, and the new spicy Hawaiian. It's your summer go-to. Hot, melty, and made to crush hunger. Order before it's gone on the Pizza Hut app. Limited time only. Additional charge for extra toppings, pan, stuffed crust, and extra cheese. A large Hut Lovers pizza for just $12.99 for a limited time at Pizza Hut. Nobody out-pizzas the Hut.
We're on the Packers.
The last 4 or 5 games are going to be very difficult.
Because we're on Wisconsin sports.
But I still think they can get 11 wins out of this schedule.
Nobody covers the green and gold like 100.5 ESPN.
It's always a beautiful experience coming out to the ballpark. Many fans prep in the parking lot amongst our legendary tailgaters. When you're ready for new windows and doors, prep for those at the Pella Experience Center in Brookfield. See, feel, open, close, and compare dozens of window and door options from different Pella lines side by side. And if you order by July 31st, get 0% interest for up to 5 years on Blue Mountain Road, or visit PellaWI.com today.
To those who've ever dreamt of their perfect event, those dreams are worthy and they are possible. Hi, it's Jeffrey from Celebrations Entertainment. With hard work, passion, and great music, we will make your event dreams a reality. Every event is a labor of love, with one-on-one planning, customization, and flawless execution. Bringing your event to life is what we do. For a fun, memorable event, visit celebrationsentertainment.com. That's celebrationsentertainment.com.
The search for luxury begins at Audi Madison. Save $5,500 when you purchase or lease a new 2025 Audi Q7 55. National customer credit is good toward the purchase, finance, or lease of a new Audi, but is only available until July 30th. Why drive something ordinary when you can drive something extraordinary? Stop in and test drive today. Check out AudiMadison.com to see current inventory and specials. Start your adventure at Audi Madison today, off the Beltline and Rimrock Road.
Hi, Drew and Jonathan Scott here. American Family Insurance can help protect your dream home for whatever comes next. You can live in your own oasis or your own clubhouse. Whatever you choose, get the right coverage. Save up to 23% by bundling home and auto. Life's better when you're under American Family's roof. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI and its operating companies. 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Looking to join an international quality golf club right here in Madison? Discover TPC Wisconsin, an instant classic in the heart of the Midwest. With a course co-designed by Steve Stricker and PGA Tour Designs, it's the 13th and newest TPC Network golf club in the world. Other high-quality amenities include a short game practice area, athletic performance center, and meeting and dining facilities, plus membership benefits that reach around the globe. Schedule a tour at tpcwisconsin.com and start your journey to a lifetime of priceless golf.
Madison's financial challenges need a Dane County-based bank. Starion Bank is a full-service community bank that delivers quality big bank services with a local approach. We are proud to be there for any budding entrepreneur or small businesses, helping them exceed their financial goals from banking to lending to cash management. Visit a banker at one of our convenient branches in Middleton, Monona, or Sun Prairie. Starion Bank, taking you farther.
We're on the Badgers.
It reminds me of our 2016 year.
Because we're on Wisconsin sports.
I think being the underdog is a great thing for Wisconsin football. I think this could be that year.
This is 100.5 ESPN and Wisconsin On Demand.
Wilde Tausch rolls on with Brad Nortman in as our cousin sub of the day. Cousin subs, we believe in better. We're really lucky. Like, obviously, Tausch is phenomenal. The only thing I brag about is it was my idea to have him host the show, and I was right about that. He's great. But we're really lucky because we've got so many good options for cousin subs of the day, and whether it's Bulaga, or we had Strofe on Friday. We've got Joe Thomas coming up this week. We got John Anderson coming up this week. We got Bulaga again. And today we've got the great Brad Nortman, who owes his entire radio career to us, as we pointed out at the beginning of the show. Speaking of great careers, the end of an era for the Packers obviously came on Friday as Mark Murphy officially passed the torch to Ed Policy, who is now the team president and CEO. But I'll tell you what, and Mark and I had a couple of good exchanges, both on Wednesday when we talked and again on Friday. I think I think he'd probably still be avoiding me as he was leaving practice, but not as demonstratively. But boy, he just cannot help himself. He always wants to be in comedian mode. Like, he is a stand-up comic trapped in the body of an NFL executive.
We got to get the Chippewa Falls.
And Jesse, you noticed the line "distinctive guffaw" in my story on Channel 3000. It is distinctive. There it is, right there, right? He just, I just think, and Brad, you can be a funny guy, but you and I are more buttoned up, right? You never know what you're going to get with Rust.
Yeah.
You never know what you're going to get with Tausch. You never know what you're going to get with Homer. They're more cut from the Mark Murphy cloth than we are. But I again, we didn't always see eye to eye. But Mark Murphy definitely did the job his way, and Ed Policy is going to do it a different way. And I don't think it's going to be the same way. It certainly will be a lot fewer jokes, I would predict.
Yeah, you certainly have to do, whether you're a player, whether you're a radio host, or whether you're the CEO and president of the Green Bay Packers, you got to be yourself. And Mark Murphy clearly was himself the entire tenure of his time there. And I respect the way he did it. If it ever took away from his ability to lead the organization, I would be more critical of maybe his how much levity he conducts himself with. But the reality is he has a resume that's up there among, the greats of the presidents and CEOs. Not the greatest, but among, in the conversation. So his time deserves to be applauded. Now, some things I disagree with, the structure of GM, head coach, I don't agree with it, but there are a lot of things he did do. Titletown, draft, he did have a Super Bowl under his tenure. Brian Gutekunst and Matt LaFleur seem to be like good hires. There's a lot of things that he did that's a lot of good that I think that the Packers are in better shape than they are in the organization, better shape today than when he took over. And Ed Policy is going to do it different, and that's okay. I just think Packer fans, as I come from a little bit of a different perspective, right? Grew up big Packer fan, right? Here in Wisconsin, and was a Packer fan until I was drafted to the Panthers. And being able to see different organizations, being able to see the Panthers, the Jaguars, I respect a lot about how they were run, particularly during my time. But the Green Bay Packers should be seen in this state and nationwide like they are with a high degree of respect because it is the utmost of stability. Now, us on KBN might wonder how long are we going to have to wait for the Packers to go back to a Super Bowl? But the reality is level of consistency that organization operates with is just, I mean, it's up there with the Steelers and, even like baseball organizations that time after time, like the St. Louis Cardinals, they're just some organizations that you think of that are just like from top down, stable, consistent. And you don't know how important that is until you experience something different, until you experience chaos and unpredictability. So I appreciate that Mark Murphy was able to toe that line between stability and just being, I'll call it, downright entertaining. The sports is primarily entertainment to some degree, and he leaned into that. So I'll be eager to see what Ed Policy does from a structural standpoint, from a guidance standpoint. And I think he's really well equipped to make some good decisions and take the next step. However, I'm going to miss Mark Murphy and his jokes and his levity and his laughs and complicated fella and just all the things. Those are just headlines and smiles that I don't know if we'll ever get again as Packer fans, but you don't even get that much around the league. So Mark Murphy's time will be appreciated, and I'll always sit back and smile about some of those comments made.
Apparently they like green and gold.
I would just say this, and it didn't end up, in my opinion anyway, biting them at any point. But I do think sometimes his flippant nature, there were probably situations where it could have gotten, like the complicated fella line. Like, we all joke about it, but
He's a complicated fella.
You were in kind of a fragile moment with your franchise quarterback. And look, this is not giving Aaron Rodgers a pass because he is a complicated fella and he was difficult. The best way I can describe it is it felt like there were a lot of times when Mark Murphy said the quiet part out loud. And as a reporter, I'm all for that, right? Like when he sat down with Nick Tabbert of one of the TV stations up in Eau Claire, La Crosse during the girls' state basketball tournament at the Resch Center. And, Nick did a great job in that interview. Tausch and I were praising him up and down back in, what was that, the off season of 23, heading into the 23 season. And he was asked, is there any way that Rodgers is back as the quarterback? And his answer about how, it was basically, yeah, if we have no other choice, yeah, then we'll take him back, I guess. I mean, those types of kind of comments could have backfired, right? Especially if, say, Jordan Love had been not ready or Jordan Love had not played as well as he has. Not consistently, but a very good part of the time he's played well. So it has worked out great. But those things could have caused issues, and they just didn't, which is a good thing. But, I definitely think Ed Policy is going to be much more buttoned up. That is for certain.
Jason, you probably have a better beat on this. It's been a long time since it was the early days of Mark Murphy. Did he always have that loose lips, potentially careless speech nature and, really looking for every opportunity to drop in a joke, or did that evolve over time?
No, he was always that way. I think he's always thought he was very funny. So again, a lot of us think we're funny. Not all of us necessarily.
The problem is he's the kind of guy where he's kind of big time, right? President, CEO. When you're in that kind of situation, you might get some pity laughs, right? So those pity laughs probably fueled, oh my gosh, I am as funny as I think I am. Here we go. Time to turn it on.
It's a really good point, actually. He did say something that I found extremely interesting, and it kind of went under the radar with everything going on in training camp and with the passing of the torch to Ed Policy, and that's about international games. So I want you to think about how many international games you played during your storied NFL career, and we'll get into that coming up before I head down to practice. That's next with Brad Nortman as our cousin sub of the day. It's Wilde Tausch.
This is Wilde Tausch, driven by Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie on 100.5 ESPN. See their full inventory at ZimbrickChevrolet.com.
Panic strikes as you realize on Wednesday that Thursday is your anniversary. The reservations being secured.
We'll see you at 8.
The gift being purchased. Yeah, you've got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with early pay up to 2 days early on direct deposits. So even though they call you Last Minute Lisa, we'll make your last minute scrambling a bit easier. You've got this with early pay from Associated Bank. See associatedbank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
Mark Tauscher here to tell you a little bit more about Everlight Solar. We all know that electricity costs are on the rise. That's why you need to talk to my friends over at Everlight Solar. Their local team here in Madison is here to keep it simple. From your no-cost consultation to solar panel installation, the team at Everlight Solar will be with you every step of the way. Not only will they help you save money, but by switching to solar, you're also helping save the planet. Everlight Solar, a proud partner of Wisconsin Athletics. Check them out at everlightsolar.com.
Zimbrick Honda has been a proud part of the Madison community since 1973. They're your one-stop shop for over 250 new Hondas to choose from. Whether you're looking for a sedan, SUV, or truck, their selection of new vehicles is second to none. Stop in today at their location on Fish Hatchery Road and lease a 2025 Honda Civic Sport hatchback for as low as $289 per month. Or browse the vehicle selection online at ZimbrickHonda.com. That's ZimbrickHonda.com. Shop local, shop Zimbrick Honda.
At Gruber Law Offices, we take great pride in helping those who have trusted us after a serious accident. Our team has the knowledge, resources, and experience to get you the results you deserve. Don't wait to get the help you need. Make the right call. Call Gruber Law Offices today, proud partner of Wisconsin Athletics. One call, that's all.
It's ESPN Wisconsin's Ben Bruss talking about our friends at Road America, America's National Park of Speed. Get out of your house this summer and go to Road America, located conveniently between Green Bay and Milwaukee and Elkhart Lake. Come see a race at the legendary 4-mile, 14-turn road circuit that has hosted some of the best races since 1955. Motul Sports Car Grand Prix featuring IMSA is up next on July 30th through the 1st of August. Camp on site all weekend and enjoy free admission for kids 16 and under with a paying adult at the gate. Come for the experience and stay for the race. Get your tickets at roadamerica.com.
To help those who want to be helped, but may not be able to afford it.
That's what PGA Tour winner Grayson Murray had envisioned for a foundation before he sadly took his own life at just 30 years old. His parents channeled their grief into creating the Grayson Murray Foundation, carrying out his vision to help those struggling with mental health and addiction. To donate and learn more, visit GraysonMurrayFoundation.com.
Good Karma Brands is proud to be an equal opportunity employer. Our policy is to provide equal opportunity employment, development, and advancement to all current and potential teammates. If you are an organization that maintains a job bank, provides employment information, or gives job referrals, you may request to be placed on the station's mailing list for future career opportunities. To learn more about careers at Good Karma Brands, please email careers@goodkarmabrands.com.
People travel the world to collect Hard Rock shirts, and Hard Rock Casino Rockford is going to give the people what they want. Get in on the action at Hard Rock Casino Rockford, where all new Unity card signups receive an official Hard Rock shirt, plus free play to kickstart a winning streak. Whether you're spinning the slots or playing the tables, you'll be dressed for success. Hard Rock Casino Rockford. Let's Hard Rock. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or text ILGAMB to 833-234.
We're on the Badgers.
All of these folks that put these projections into the world, I don't think they have them winning 6 games.
Because we're on Wisconsin Sports.
Let this team prove that these projections are bunk.
This is 100.5 ESPN.
We roll on with Brad Nortman. It is our cousin sub of the day. I'm going to head down to Ray Nitschke Field here momentarily. But Brad, being a member of the London Jaguars, you have some international experience. You're an international man of mystery, some might say. You and Mike Myers. How many times did you play
We
across
did say
the
Brad
pond?
would be the best spy of all of us at ESPN Wisconsin.
I totally agree with that.
Oh.
How did we get on that again?
You went to Quick Trip and outed the person who didn't say "see you next time."
That's what it
as
was,
they were
yeah.
leaving,
Mhm.
and then we said you would be a spy who goes around and tries to find the people who don't do that. And then we said you would be a terrible spy, and you said I would not be a terrible spy, and so on. Yeah,
It's a pretty good recap. Well done. All right. Well, the best spy at ESPN Wisconsin. How many times did you go to London, or how many times did you play internationally?
Yep, went to London 2 times, both season for the Jaguars.
Because they basically play half their season in London. That's maybe an exaggeration.
Below the belt.
But they do play a lot in London, and they will again this year, I think. But what was that like for you? Because here's the hook to this story. Mark Murphy told us, he actually mentioned this on Wednesday when we had like the pre-financial meeting with him, and then he mentioned it again on Friday on his way out the door. The NFL's plan is to get to 18 regular season games and then have every team play one international game every year, and it would alternate between whoever has well, I guess it wouldn't make sense once they get to 18 games, but it would alternate between, if you give up a home game in 2027, then your opponent would give one up in 2028. So you still would have 8 home games in the years that you give up one, and then you'd obviously have the bonus one the years that you don't. So what do you make of this? Because I was talking to Xavier McKinney about this, and one of the things that he mentioned is, well, we better have 2 bye weeks. How difficult was it for you, and what do you think of the international plan the NFL has?
Well, it was an enjoyable experience. I'll start there. Now, not everybody looks at it that way, but I think predominantly around the team, it was looked at with a level of excitement and fun. It's a change up for a generally not, a monotonous season, but you play your home games, you play your away games. It's very much that players and coaches are creatures of habit. So when you introduce a little bit of, different feel to going across the pond or wherever else that these international games might be, it does wake you up a little bit, and it makes you be a bit more intentional about it. The game itself is a thrill. It's an absolute thrill. The different fans, all the different jerseys, the excitement. It feels like you're going to play like a bowl game. It feels like you're going to play a big time game. So I think guys appreciated the game part of it. There was a vibe and excitement. And to be honest, guys did enjoy, if you go out there soon enough, exploring to some degree, going out to dinner and enjoying a new country and a new city. So with that being said, though, the more that the NFL does this, I think the better it will be. And here's why I say that. It felt like as the Jaguars, to your point, the team went out there so often, we had hammered out a schedule and a plan that was time-tested, and we had proven results from it. Actually, the Jags' record in London is actually very good. So the more you did it, the more you got
better
accustomed
than it
to
is in the United
and
States.
the more you could figure out. I mean, to some degree, I bet you it is a better. That's all right, Jason. I'll forgive you. Better than the Packers, who are very used to playing stateside, and they're, as you said in the article, they're 0-2 in international games. I think the reality is, you need, if you're going to do 18 games and every team do an international game, you have to put in some baked-in rest, which Xavier McKinney said in your article. Maybe you have a bye. For sure, 2 buys that come before or after that game, because it's going to be asking a lot for guys to do that physically. There's nothing easy about going overseas and then flying back home and it's very late at night, you're tired, and you just need some time. So these guys are pros. They know how to figure it out and do it. I think it's something where once as you explain to the players the financial benefit of growing the game and the financial benefit of an 18th game, I'm sure they'll got to figure out how to spread that money around, which isn't always an easy fight for the players. I think guys will buy into it. I think there's going to be two players that have, I guess, resigned themselves to maybe a negative viewpoint. I think veterans will. I think if you are above 30, which the Packers don't have many of, and maybe it's your 10th year and you've done 6 international games, I think you're going to look at this and just be like, been there, done that. I'd rather just be with my family, not interested in doing this. And then I think guys that are, I don't know what the right way to put this, but sort of stuck in their ways as far as not wanting to do anything that's a level of discomfort for them. Those are few and far between. It's just mostly the creatures of habit. And some guys are more committed to that than others on the team. But I think it's mostly the vets that are going to say, you know what, I've been there, done that. I don't need to do another international game. But I think when it becomes an expectation, when it becomes the rhythm of the season and every team does it, I think that's when guys will embrace it. And I think that other guys think that, here's why I think it's important that every team does it. If we play international and we come back and then we go play, let's say the Packers play in London, and they come back, and then they got to play the Lions next week, who didn't play in London the week before. I think you'd look at that and say, that's a competitive disadvantage. Like, that doesn't seem fair. If every team is confronted with that scenario, then it's just drawing straws of when it happens during your season. So it feels like it's more of a balanced competitive front. It makes sense for growing the game. Players will get used to it. And I personally had a great time playing overseas. I think the more, the better. Now, the question is, what are the limits? Like, are we playing in, Japan? That's a different flight than Mexico City. That's a different flight than Ireland. Australia. Like, there are some complicated scenarios out there, but I think that is better than, for instance, having a London team, having a Paris team. I think everyone to play an international game, try to make it reasonable, but there are some that are inherently more challenging than others.
So I think it's interesting that you bring this up, because the other thing that McKinney said was, I'm all for it if we actually get to experience these places. And, he said, speaking of the quiet part out loud, he said what we all knew, but the NFL didn't want out there. And that was that they had major safety concerns in Sao Paulo. And those guys were basically locked down at the hotel, which, by the way, is not a great look for the league. Not a great look at all. And so McKinney's point is, yeah, sure, that's fine. Let's have a bye week after the international games, right? So we can definitely have that. And then beyond that, let's make sure that we're going places that are safe enough that we can actually experience going to those places. That happened with Mexico City a couple of years ago as well. So I just, I'm really intrigued, because to your point and to Mark Murphy's point, the idea behind this is to grow the game, and that it's a long-term play, as Mark Murphy put it. But again, if you're so concerned about the safety of your own people, then how is that a good idea to play in those places? Like, if it's that to that degree, for you as a player, I would think that would be disconcerting, that they're so hell-bent on growing the game that they want to send you to a place where they don't feel it's safe enough for you to go out and enjoy being in that country.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Jason, because, the NFL needs to grow, but grow right. It is a freight train that is just driven toward profitability and growth. And it's growing at a clip that most businesses can't do, right? There aren't many things that can throw the train off the tracks. And I'm hesitant to even bring some of them up. One of them was, I'm blanking on the Bills player name who passed away on the field and came back.
Damar Hamlin.
Damar Hamlin. Yep, that's right. There are certain things that, like, I think the NFL is very scared of. That being one of them. True player safety on the field. But growing too quick and expanding into markets that aren't particularly safe, it would be catastrophic if something happened overseas that the NFL could, clearly there were concerns in Mexico City or Sao Paulo, because you hear of this sometimes in Europe and other countries where, I don't even know what could happen, but the fact that there are emphasized security measures in place leads me to believe that they're trying to protect them from something. So the NFL just needs to be very thoughtful about where the markets they extend into and make sure that they don't make a catastrophic error by trying to get into places by any cost, because there are some costs to being in places that aren't safe for the grander narrative of the NFL.
All right, I'm going to turn it over to you guys as I embark on my journey down to watch practice. You guys are going to do a little ESPN Wisconsin College Game Day within the show. This is a new thing we're doing. We're doing like these shows within the shows. Apparently at Jesse's behest,
Little
they did
appetizers.
They did a version of the wildly popular Mr. Irrelevant when I went down to practice. So we're going to do that coming up next. I'm going to head down there, and then we'll have the 11 o'clock hour with all the updates, including Elton Jenkins is out there in pads at practice. We'll see how much he actually does. I would say, again, Matt LaFleur said he would only do individual drill work, which is smart since he did not have the 4 days of ramp-up time that the other have had, but that's big that they've got him back on the field. We'll see what other things are going on down there at Ray Nitschke Field coming up with Brad Nortman as our cousin sub of the day. It's Wilde Tausch.
We're on the Packers.
The last 4 or 5 games are going to be very difficult.
Because we're on Wisconsin sports.
But I still think they can get 11 wins out of this schedule.
Nobody covers the green and gold like 100.5 ESPN.
Mark Tosher here, inviting you to Throwback Thursday at the Pizza Hut in Platteville on Thursday, August 7th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Enjoy special throwback prices on pizza, wings, fountain drinks, and more. I'll be at Pizza Hut in Platteville from noon to 2 after Wisconsin's practice, and I've invited some special guests to hang out as well. And when you stop by, enter to win a signed jersey or pizza for a year. Throwback Thursday at Pizza Hut, Thursday, August 7th, exclusively at Pizza Hut in Platteville.
Rah. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Pablo Iglesias.
This Badger Minute is brought to you by Steinhoffels. Sleep better with Tempur-Pedic at Steinhoffels. Queen hybrids from $52 per month plus $300 in Steinhoffels cash. Shop now in-store or online. Glass half full approach. Luke Fickell putting a 5-7 season behind him with 2025 on the horizon. The head coach on tackling the new year after the previous failed to meet expectations.
That's not the standard. That's not the expectation by any ways. I was not brought here thinking that that's in any way what it is that we expect. But what last year does do is it gives us an opportunity to be able to self-reflect. It gives us an opportunity to recognize things that we need to continue to be able to change. I think that's what was most important as we attacked December and January for us in our program.
For windows with the strongest resilience, you need the Pella Experience. Get 0% interest for up to 5 years if you order by July 31st at PellaWI.com.
Since J&K Security Solutions opened in 1987, our attention to detail and customer service have been our strongest assets. I'm President Jeffrey Beckman. We'll always do our best to find the most efficient and cost-effective solution to every job we tackle. Whether it's security for your home or business, installing video surveillance, or being able to control your garage doors from your phone, we can help you feel empowered with simple and user-friendly technology. Let's work together to secure your home or business. jksecurity.com.
Life's better with American Family Insurance because we know it's not just a car, it also drives your children's dreams. So whether you're going to soccer practice, robotics club, or opening night in the school play, we help protect those dreams. Save up to 23% when you bundle auto and home. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
From color-changing alexandrite to shimmering zircon and everything in between at Chalmers Jewelers, you'll find high-quality, affordable, one-of-a-kind pieces. We source straight from the gem cutters, and we manufacture in-house from start to finish. As the manufacturer, we believe in truth in pricing. Never pay more for quality and stunning, beautiful jewelry. She's one of a kind, and so should her jewelry be. While others may send your jewelry dreams to someone else to make, with us, your dreams become reality with the help of our custom jewelers, with you involved the whole way. With a staff that has over 200 years of combined experience, why buy from a place that marks up jewelry made by the thousands? When you can buy direct from Chalmers for that one-of-a-kind piece that is better quality, often for less.
Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton
and Madison.
Jim Rutledge here. It's officially camping season, which means I will be using my big blue truck from Simden Chevy in Mount Horeb. You're only minutes away from a better buying experience at Simden Chevy in Mount Horeb. What does that mean? It means it's a customized buying experience. If you're an expert and you know what you want, they're happy to let you take the lead. And if you have a ton of questions, Aaron, Tyler, and the whole team at Simden Chevy in Mount Horeb will make sure they can answer them all. You're only minutes away from a better buying experience at Simden Chevy in Mount Horeb.
We're on the Brewers.
2025 wants to be in the discussion as one of the greatest Brewers teams of all time.
Because we're on Wisconsin Sports.
It's going to come down to what they do in October.
This is Madison's new home of Milwaukee Brewers baseball. 100.5 ESPN.
Wilde Tausch back with you, but it's Jesse and Brad for the time being. No Tausch's summer sabbatical continues. He'll be back next week with us. Jason Wilde on his way down to Packers training camp practice, where he will share his insights and observations from Green Bay as the Packers get back at it. At training camp, first day of padded practice for the Green and Gold. We'll hear Jason's observations coming up in the 11 o'clock hour here of Wilde and Tausch. This is a special treat for our ESPN Wisconsin fans. Brad Nortman. You usually hear Brad on Kyle Bruston Nortman weekdays from 2 to 5 on ESPN Milwaukee and 2 to 4 on ESPN Madison and ESPN Beaver Dam. You will hear Brad and I reunited on the ESPN Wisconsin College Game Day pregame show almost all Saturdays and the occasional Thursday throughout the 2025 college football season, where I can only hope that Brad won't bring the same type of groupthink mentality that he brings to Kyle Bruston Nortman when talking about the Wisconsin football team. Maybe that's a little mean. Maybe it's pretty accurate. So, Brad, what I wanted to do while Jason gets situated down on the sidelines at Packers training camp practice is give our fans a little teaser, because we are exactly 1 month away. It is July 28th today. August 28th is the opener under the lights at Camp Randall Stadium for the 2025 season as the Badgers host Miami, Ohio to kick off the new season, trying to bounce back after not reaching bowl eligibility a year ago. So I have prepared for our fans a little college game day quiz for Brad Nortman, multiple choice, to take as a little teaser, a little appetizer, as we get set along with Adam Mertz to host the College Game Day pregame show on ESPN Wisconsin for the coming season. Are you prepared for your quiz?
I am ready, Jesse, and let me just say I am so excited for our crew for Wisconsin College Game Day these falls. I can't believe it's already just a month away. Few things I love more than Badger football. Let's hit it.
Here we go. I've even got the old music, the retro music bringing us in for this one. All right. Brad
So
Nortman,
good.
a multiple choice quiz for you as we help preview the 2025 Wisconsin football season here on this little appetizer of ESPN Wisconsin College Game Day. First up, which of these games are you most excited for this season? And which do you think the Badgers actually have the best chance to win? So, two-part question. Which are you most excited for? And which do you think the Badgers actually have the best chance to win? Not saying they're going to win. They have the best chance to win. September 13th at Alabama. Oh, baby, the Alabama Crimson Tide in Tuscaloosa. October 4th, on the road against the Michigan Wolverines. October 18th, at home at Camp Randall Stadium against the Ohio State Buckeyes. And October 25th, on the road against the Oregon Ducks in Eugene. Of those four, that's a gauntlet. Which are you most excited for, and which do they have the best chance to win?
Wow, gauntlet is right. Okay, which am I most excited for? I'm most excited for Ohio State at Camp Randall. That is Saturday, October 18th. Now, the time is yet to be announced. I don't think, unless Wisconsin is just rolling at that point, I don't think it's going to be one of those classic 11 o'clock kickoff games that Fox loves to slot the big Big Ten football game of the week. So I'm hoping it's going to be a night game, and it's going to be under the lights, maybe reminiscent of 2010 a little bit, bring in top dog Ohio State into the cozy confines of Camp Randall Stadium. I love night games at Madison. I love seeing Badgers versus Ohio State under the lights, selfishly because it takes me back to 2010, but also because that's an area that's ripe for an upset. Now, speaking of the upset, which one do I actually think they're going to win? I don't think they're going to beat Bama at Bama. I don't think they're going to beat at Oregon, and I actually don't think they're going to beat Ohio State at home. Now, at Michigan, that's an interesting location, right? The Big House, sort of a big brand, but I never found it to be a horribly challenging place to play. It's a big house, but it's not as loud as you'd think. It's not as intimidating as you'd think. 20th ranked team in the country, pretty good, but that's beatable. And I could just see Michigan Wolverines thinking Wisconsin would be an easy team to overlook as they embark on their own schedule. So I think Wisconsin matches up pretty decently against Michigan. So that's the game of all the upsets that are out there. I actually think Wisconsin has a better chance to beat Michigan than I do they think they have to beat Illinois and Indiana, which is crazy. I never thought I'd say that, but it's just what I believe.
That's the state of college football here in 2025. We'll see if Indiana does. I don't know if they're going to be as good as they were last year. We'll see about that.
Okay.
Second question for your preseason college game day quiz, Brad Nortman. This is a fun question, if I do say so myself. Jesse and Brad holding it down while Jason goes to Packers training camp practice. Which previous Wisconsin football season will this 2025 season most closely resemble? I'm giving you three options here. Go all the way back to 1992. I was 1 year old. I do not remember this season. I have only read about it. 1992, the Badgers were 5-6 in the third season under the upstart head coach by the name of Barry Alvarez. They defeated 12th-ranked Ohio State at home at Camp Randall Stadium. Did not finish bowl eligible, finished 5-6. But it was the launch pad to what ended up becoming the Rose Bowl season to follow in 1993. So 1992, option number one. Option two, 2008, third season under Brett Bielema. 7-6, 3-5 in the Big Ten. You may recall a overtime win against Cal Poly FCS in the final week of the season at Camp Randall to get to that seventh victory before going on to play in a bowl game year three under Brett Bielema. Or 2016, second year under Paul Chryst. A lot of top 10 opponents on the schedule that year for Wisconsin. They exceeded expectations, beating LSU at Lambeau Field, beating Michigan State on the road. Hornibrook stepped in. They end up going 3-2 against top 10 teams and 11-3 overall on the season en route to the Cotton Bowl, year two under Paul Chryst. Of those three, 1992, 2008, 2016, which do you think 2025 could most resemble?
I think 2025 season for Wisconsin is going to most resemble 1992. There's a few reasons why. Coming off 1991 into 92, Badger football was still not what it is or not what it once became, right? Expectations were low. And the year before, 1991, they also went 5-6. So this team, that team coming off of 5-6, this team coming off of 5-7, so similarities there. I don't see this team in 2025 winning 7 games, winning 11 games. I just don't see it. I think the schedule is too hard. So I think they're going to be hanging out in the 4 to 6 win category. But here's the one thing I think we will see this year out of the Wisconsin Badgers, and they need it. A statement win of some kind. Now, there's plenty of opportunity on this year's schedule. By my count, they play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 top 25 teams that are ranked before the season. They have plenty of opportunity to beat a ranked team, have some sort of stamp of significance on Coach Fickell's tenure. They still don't have a signature win yet. So I think this is the year they get a signature win, but I don't think they're going to break through and have more than 6 wins. So it's going to look like 1992. Signature win, but not really something to cheer about in the win-loss category.
1992, a year we both remember quite fondly, because I was 1, and I know you were that
vividly,
much,
Jesse, vividly.
Oh, yeah. Last question for you. Brad Nortman again. Jesse Nelson, Brad Nortman will be hosting ESPN Wisconsin College Game Day's pregame show along with Adam Mertz throughout this upcoming college football season. Which rivalry game, Brad, do the Badgers have to win this year for you to feel confident the program is trending the right way? Your 3 options this year, no Nebraska on the board. No, the Badgers don't play Nebraska this year. So October 11th at home against the Iowa Hawkeyes. November 22nd at home against Brett Bielema's Illinois Fighting Illini. Or November 29th on the road against PJ Fleck's Minnesota Golden Gophers in the battle for Paul Bunyan's axe.
Well, I would say Iowa or Illinois would be the most impressive win against a rival, but I don't put it on the program to have to win those. But Coach Fickell, you have to beat the Minnesota Golden Gophers. You have to. This program is now in a situation where it is a coin flip, maybe even an underdog. The Badgers will probably be an underdog for that game at Minnesota. No more. I was part of the teams that went on like a 14, 15 game win streak against Minnesota. That is your arch rival. Paul Bunyan's axe deserves to be in Wisconsin. Iowa, Illinois, really good programs. Minnesota, good program. But under no circumstances is it ever okay to lose to Minnesota and to not have the upper hand of the Paul Bunyan axe. So for me, regardless of the schedule, regardless if you get a signature win, I'm looking at Thanksgiving weekend. Maybe it's right now, it's the Saturday, November 29th. Maybe it'll be flexed to a different time. Who knows? You must win that game, Wisconsin football. No longer can we lose and accept defeat to the Minnesota Golden Gophers.
It was brutal how the season ended last year against Minnesota on Black Friday. Badgers not getting bowl eligible, just getting beat up in that game, looking fairly lifeless. Hopefully that is not the case again this year. I do think, Brad, as this will be the last thing before Jason rejoins us here in the 10 o'clock hour, just as we talk about Wisconsin football, it's local media day today. Coach Fickell and some players talked with the rest of the conference media in Las Vegas last week. We're getting to the point where they're getting ready to go to Platteville, start practicing, and then we're going to start to see the real thing here again 1 month from today. The season kicks off. This is a make or break year for Luke Fickell and the Wisconsin Badgers. We need to see progress. We need to see results of some capacity. It's not the type of situation where you get 4 years to build your program anymore in college football. Curt Cignetti went to Indiana and did it in 1. There's a number of other coaches you can point to that have been at programs that are lesser than Wisconsin has been built to be over the years that have gone in and immediately had an impact in changing the program. In year 3, I understand, okay, a little bit of a setback here in the first 2 seasons. The get-out-of-jail-free card has been played by firing the offensive coordinator from a year ago, and now Jeff Grimes comes in, get back to what makes Wisconsin football great, and this is the year we need to see some type of results from Luke Fickell and the Badgers.
I'm right there with you, Jesse. I mean, for the longest time, an excuse for Coach Fickell, not that he ever gave, but a lot of fans would give, was, oh, Coach Chris just left the cupboard bared, right? And all the players that he brought in just weren't very good. Well, now you've got a team. I'm not sure I believe that, by the way. Now you've got a team that is all Luke Fickell players. I mean, it really is. Maybe a couple stragglers that have still hung in there, but this is a team built how Coach Fickell wants to build it. And you're in year 3 of a time when it's easier than ever and faster than ever to change over your roster. So whatever he's wanted to implement, he has had plenty of time to do. There's really no more excuses. And, I don't expect this team to be a college football playoff team, have 10 wins, but you got to get to 6 wins for the fan base to feel encouraged. I think 5 or less, he will be on the scalding hot seat, if not worse. 6 wins or more, it feels like a step is made in the right direction. And I know that the schedule is hard, but this is college football. It's never going to be handed to you. It's never going to be easy. And if Wisconsin ever wants to be built into a true college football playoff contender, well, you're going to go through a gauntlet to get there and to try to make noise once you do get there. So a hard schedule is not an excuse either. Now is the time. And the thing that I was upset with most last year was the Iowa game, the Nebraska game, the Minnesota game. It just felt like the team had no life, had no desire, had no passion. That is something that I don't care if the talent isn't as good on the field. There is no excuse for that for Wisconsin football, because that is the heartbeat of Wisconsin football. So that's on Coach Fickell to get the guys mentally and physically ready. And this is the year to do it. There's plenty of opportunity to bring it and have an upset. I know us, for Wisconsin College Game Day pregame, we are always going to bring the juice, and win or lose, we're going to bring it for pregame every single week. So I can't wait for the season to start. And I'm not particularly optimistic, but I'm hopeful that we're going to see a little something different this season.
I'm optimistic that we're going to have more fun than last year ended up being down the stretch. I do believe that, if the Badgers only win 5 games this year, but 2 of those wins come against Ohio State and Michigan or Iowa and Alabama, like that'll feel different than it did a year ago or even 2 years ago. And so that's what I'm hoping for this year.
I agree with that.
You may not see it in the win column that they're going to be drastically better, but team-wise and getting a signature win and that memorable moment that makes you feel confident in the program moving forward, that's what you need this season.
That can change a lot. A signature win, a marquee moment, that can change a lot in the eyes of the fans and the national landscape. So I'm right there with you. If you can get 5 wins and at least 1 signature win, it's not too bad. I'll take that.
That's your teaser for ESPN Wisconsin College Game Day, the pregame show. Brad Nortman, myself, Jesse Nelson, and Adam Mertz. We're going to hold it down before every Badger football game this season, starting 1 month from today when Wisconsin hosts Miami, Ohio, under the lights Thursday night to kick off the season at Camp Randall Stadium. When we come back, Jason Wilde rejoins the show. He'll host from Green Bay as the Packers are back at training camp practice with the pads on. We'll do that in 2 minutes and 35 seconds. Because Tausch is going to tell us go to break about cold, refreshing Coors Light, the official sponsor of ESPN Wisconsin College Game Day. Stick around. It's Wilde and Tausch.
Mark Tauscher here for the Blue Mountains of cold, refreshing Coors Light. Whether you're tailgating pregame, enjoying your experience during the game, celebrating a big win after the game, or you just need a moment to chill, crack open a Rocky Mountain Cold Coors Light. Coors Light is brewed with a 3-step cold process, cold lager, cold filtered, and cold packaged, so it's actually made to chill. The mountains on Coors Light's cold-activated bottles and cans turn blue when chilled to perfection, which, besides the refreshing taste, is my favorite thing about drinking Coors Light. Refreshingly cold and only 102 calories, Coors Light is made to chill. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Don't go anywhere. Another hour of Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, is coming up next on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
The UW Credit Union member Mark Tauscher here. People ask me, old T, why did you join UW Credit Union? Well, is it to keep your banking local? Is it the member first service? Great perks like early payday? Absolutely. But honestly, between us, it's Bucky. I can't say no to that face. If you love Wisconsin like I do, you just can't pay with anything else. Fandom makes us do crazy things, but this just makes sense. Become a UW Credit Union member and get your Bucky card like me. Federally insured by NCUA. Terms and conditions apply.
This is Wisconsin Volleyball National Champion Devin Robinson. You're listening to 100.5 ESPN, WTLX, Monona, Madison, a Good Karma Brands radio station.
Broadcasting live from the Everlight Solar Studio, this is your Metro Kia of Madison Sports Center.
Good morning, Madison and streamers everywhere. I'm Jesse Nelson. Sports Center brought to you by the ESPN Wisconsin app, home to your favorite ESPN Wisconsin shows at the touch of a fingertip. Plus, find featured content, enter contests, and more. Your state, your teams, your ESPN. Download the ESPN Wisconsin app in the Apple and Android app stores today. The Statement Series gets underway tonight at American Family Field. The Milwaukee Brewers and the Chicago Cubs, identical 62-43 records on the season, tied for first place in the National League Central Division, tied with the best records in the National League. And of course, former manager Craig Counsell returning One of the best rivalries of the year taking place tonight at American Family Field. Brewers-Cubs, first pitch 6:40 tonight. How's this for a tone setter for the series? The Miz gets the start on the mound for Milwaukee. Jacob Mizorowski gets his first go against the Chicago Cubs tonight on the bump for the Brewers. Again, Brewers-Cubs, 6:40, first pitch tonight. Pre-game coverage starts just after 6 o'clock following Jim, Matt, and Molly right here on Madison's home of the Brewers, 100.5 ESPN. Football, the Packers at a padded training camp practice for the first time this season. Elton Jenkins participating. Jason Wilde hosts next.
Metro Kia of Madison, Madison's trusted Kia dealer. Stop into Metro Kia on the east side of Madison or metrokiaofmadison.com.
The 11 o'clock hour of Wilde Tausch begins at 11:17. Some great clock management by ESPN Wisconsin College Game Day. And they're, the offense is running routes on air, so we don't have anything hardcore to talk about here. Elton Jenkins is indeed here in pads. Quay Walker did some individual drill work coming off ankle surgery, so that's an encouraging sign. He's still limited, though, in his level of participation. But I want to, since I listened to you two knuckleheads on my walk down here, can I just say again that I hate what college football is right now because the Badgers are going to have a hard time getting to bowl eligibility. But like in 1992, when I was a student, and my good friend Jason Burns out of Chicago was one of the running backs, and he had a critical fumble in a game against Northwestern that was really tough. That would have, if he'd have held on to the ball, they would have been bowl eligible and won the game, and instead they ended up losing it, and that was really tough for Jace. But they were a team that was building up under a third-year head coach, right? And while Luke Fickell is now doing the same thing, it's in such a different era that it almost doesn't feel, Brad, like you're actually building. It's more you're fishing, and you're just hoping that you catch the right fish to make your team good for this year. And then you got to go back to the lake and go fishing. And it's not the development. And I understand that this is not the world we live in now, so I should just give up on it. But I don't know if I can say that I know what kind of progress they've made or haven't made, because it's a different quarterback every year, right? It'll be another new one next year, right? So how have you kind of navigated being, dare I say, an old school college player, this new era, and how it affects your fandom for your alma mater?
Well, it's a great question, Jason. And, you know, living in extremes, whether it be for life or for college football, is generally not advised. Usually things don't go your way if you're living in extremes. And that's, again, true in life and college football. The problem with the extreme that we're living in college football is so different than the extreme that I lived in, right? Where it was, you know, J.J. Watt went 1 year at Central Michigan and played tight end and transferred to Wisconsin. And when he transferred, it wasn't an easy process. It was messy, and he had to forfeit an entire year of playing. Now, in that year, he transformed his body, and he already had an attacking, hardworking mindset, but he transformed his body to be partially to what he's become now. But that's so punitive. And I remember being so guarded against anything of value to receive that it was to the extent where the specialist and I one spring went out to a county golf course. It's $15 for 9 holes walking. And he was like, "Oh, you guys are the specialists. Just go on. Don't even pay. Your money's no good here. Why don't you just go on and play?" And we were like, "Take our money. You have to." Because any sniffing of anything receiving that goes outside the bounds is going to ding us and get us into trouble. and you compare that now to the lavish lifestyles and money that these guys live and the ease it is to transfer, I think it's a step, because I do think that these guys should be compensated in some degree, and I do think movement is good, but there has to be some level of restriction because it has gotten to the point of an extreme. In the same way we all agree that it was an extreme amount of restriction when I was playing, I think we all look at it and say, this doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I think we can look at this extreme and say, this doesn't make a whole lot of sense either. So I do think it needs to be dialed in. I hope over the next 5 years or so, they're able to do that with something that makes sense, that everybody benefits. But to get to your question, Jason, of how do I see it and how does it affect my fanhood and my connection with the team? No matter who the coach is, whether it's Coach Fickell or anybody else, it's hard to feel connected to the program. It's hard to get to know anybody. It's hard to know what the tenor or the culture of the team is in any given year. Wisconsin's bread and butter used to be development. They used to get a certain kind of guy sprinkled in with some really high caliber players that maybe you recruited, and you develop them into a Wisconsin football player. Those days are gone. You can't do that anymore. You are going to rent a guy, so to speak. And even if, like you said, you bring in a quarterback who does really well, he's likely going to leave to go to a different team for more money next year. So you're almost damaged by the fact that if you have a guy that plays well. So there needs to be some level of contracts, multi-year commitments, some way of making money make sense and not just coming in for recruiting purposes. So as I look at it as a former player and as a former Badger, and as I talk to other people that are fans and season ticket holders, they're disenchanted with the process. They don't feel connected with the organization. It feels like it's just I know I'm looking at the Wisconsin Badgers on the field, but it's a team and it's an environment I don't even recognize anymore. And it makes me sad, I guess is the only emotion I can think of, and just hopeful that maybe something will happen down the line, because it's a state of college football that isn't sustainable, and it isn't as enjoyable for the consumer as it was even 5 or 10 years ago, in my opinion.
Yeah, to your point, I just always felt like I knew the team so much better. And there would be a guy that would develop into a starter and then break onto the scene and then end up becoming a star, the Leo Chanels and those type guys that I just, you miss that. And I hope that the process that they've gone through the last couple of years brings us closer to that. But again, the unfettered free agency, and you could be a mercenary, it's just wild. I was writing about Sam Brown last night, who is a wide receiver who's here in camp, caught a couple of big plays yesterday from Sean Clifford at the end of practice. He spent 2 years at West Virginia, 2 years at Houston, where he was teammates with Matthew Golden. And then Matthew Golden left to go to Texas, and he left to go to Miami, Florida. And so, the idea of playing for 3 schools in 5 years is just wild to me, right? And we have to adjust because this is the world we live in. I get it. But it would be nice to feel like, okay, I know this guy and this guy and this guy. And there's a few of those. The Badgers aren't completely devoid of those players, but it is way fewer than what we're accustomed to. And me looking forward to seeing that punter who's really developed into one of the best punters in college football, like one Brad Nortman once did. All right. We're in a special teams period at this end. There's a team run going on at the other end where it looks like it's heavy on run stuff, which makes sense since they're in pads today. But we'll get to more of what goes on here at practice. Plus, we've got Whoa Nelly coming up as well. It's all still ahead with Brad Nortman as our cousin sub of the day. It's Wilde Tausch.
This is Wilde Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella today, 855-PELLA-WI, and online at PellaWI.com/radio.
Get ready to unleash the dragon at Hard Rock Casino Rockford. Introducing the region's very first $1 million Dragon Link slot game. Feel the thrill, chase the excitement, and win big. With jackpots soaring to $1 million, your chance to hit it big is here. Come experience the ultimate gaming adventure. Visit Hard Rock Casino Rockford today and play the $1 million Dragon Link slot game. Your legendary win awaits. Hard Rock Casino Rockford. Let's hard rock. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Zimbrick Honda and ESPN Medicine present the Game Changers of the Month, recognizing those in area sports who make a positive impact in their community. Here's Pablo Iglesias with Zimbrick Honda's Game Changers of the Month.
Pablo Iglesias here. Welcome to the ESPN Madison Game Changers of the Month interview, and I'm joined by a special guest, Alec Ingold. With everything that you're doing here, you basically take over Madison for the whole week. You're doing football camps, but you're also doing things beyond that.
We're creating champions beyond the scoreboard. We got a fundraiser out in Tacoma, bringing the community together. We got a financial literacy camp. We call it Money Mini Camp. That's going to be fun. Over at La Follette, plus a little football camp for the kids. Free youth football camp in the Madison area. So, yeah, we're doing it big. We're doing a lot of fun stuff here, and just love to give back to this community so much. Madison's given so much to me with the university and the community, so this is our way of giving back.
Follow ESPN Medicine on YouTube and on Facebook for more with the Game Changers of the Month, presented by Zimbrick Honda.
Since 1956, Holman Lindsay Paints has been making paint in Wisconsin for Wisconsin. Because of their commitment to making great paint for Wisconsinites, Holman Lindsay has grown over the years to 26 locations in this great state. Headquarters in Sun Prairie with a state-of-the-art facility, Holman Lindsay has the paint you need to make your job better. From do-it-yourself to professional, Holman Lindsay has paint for everyone. Visit one of their local locations today in Madison, Sun Prairie, Middleton, and Janesville.
When you're in the right place at the right time, things get done. The important things, like knowing what you need and how it all works. Talking truck. Fixing it right the first time. At Zimbrick Chevrolet, our people get it done right and now. That's how you know you're in the right place at the right time. And you'll never overpay at Zimbrick Chevrolet.
Have you been waiting to buy your next home? Stop. Now is the time to get housed. What's up, Madison? It's Stacy from Bruner Realty. Nobody has a crystal ball to know what the future holds. The longer you wait to find your next home, the better the chance you'll be paying more for it than you would be today. Don't miss out on what could be the best opportunity to find your dream home. Contact our team at BrunerRealtyInc.com to help start your search. That's BrunerRealtyInc.com. Let's get housed.
Play where the Badgers play and enjoy a round at University Ridge Golf Course, the official course of the University of Wisconsin. It's easy to see why University Ridge is consistently rated one of the best public courses in Wisconsin, winning awards every year since 1992. Whether it's a tournament, corporate event, or just a golf outing with family and friends, University Ridge Golf Course will make sure you have an enjoyable golf experience from start to finish. Book your tee time today at universityridge.com. That's universityridge.com.
Life's better with American Family Insurance because we know it's not just a car, it also drives your children's dreams. So whether you're going to soccer practice, robotics club, or opening night in the school play, we help protect those dreams. Save up to 23% when you bundle auto and home. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Wilde Tausch on 100.5 ESPN is brought to you by Everlight Solar. Save money, save the planet. Everlight Solar.
I say, hey, I'll be gone today, but I'll be back from around the way. It seems like everywhere I go, the more I see, the less I know. But I know one thing, that I love you. I love you. I love you.
So, remember how we started the show talking about the pads coming on and the physical nature of that, and how Nate Hobbs maybe was, a little over the line with his physicality. Now, again, I did not see this play, so just to give you an idea of my vantage point, I am at the far end of the field because nobody wants to listen to half of a radio show and not be able to hear the insights of Brad Nortman or Brian Bulaga or Mark Tauscher or Joe Thomas or John Anderson or Alex Strofe, because we got a great stable of cousin subs, but you only hear half of it if you're standing next to me. So I stand down at the far end, so I'm not disturbing people. I can see that Jordan Love is under center right now for a 11-on-11 snap in an 11-on-11 period here, right? He's actually in the shotgun. I stand corrected, but I can't see everything that's going on. I have an obstructed view He just threw an incomplete pass, however. But according to those that are at the other end of the field, Marshawn Lloyd, who was a third-round pick last year, who had the worst fortune of any player as a rookie when it comes to injuries that I have ever covered. He had a hip injury, he had an ankle injury, he had a knee injury, and then when he's finally coming back from the ankle injury, he had an emergency appendectomy that ended his season. He hobbled off a little bit earlier with what appeared to be a leg injury, and according to Rob Domofsky, that it appeared to be Nate Hobbs that hit him. So we've got a guy, Brad, who has dealt with injuries for his entire first year. According to Wes Hodkiewicz of Packers.com, Lloyd is still out here at practice, but he is not participating. And so he's I really hope for his sake that this is not the beginning of another year like last year. Did you ever have teammates like that, Brad, who just never seemed to catch a break health-wise?
Yeah, there were quite a few of them that you would look at and you would say, this guy has everything we would want. Mindset, ability to learn a playbook physically, but the injury bug, as it's so commonly called, can just bite. And the problem is, once his one thing's off, it's likely that something else is overcompensating, which is going to strain that. There's imbalances that occur. So it's unfortunately, whether it be college football, because there were some great recruits that I came in with, that same thing, just couldn't stay healthy. College or pro, some guys' bodies have the misfortune, as you put it, of getting a certain kind of injury. It lingers, imbalances occur. And there are some guys that, on the flip side, they just know how to take a hit. They know how to fall. They know how to angle their body. They somehow just know how to avoid that injury, and with a little bit of luck. So this, going back to what we started talking about, though, Packer fans are going to love Nate Hobbs for his physicality in about a month and a week. But until then, guys are going to be angered by this, because other reports I'm just trying to piece together too. Zach Tom got in the face of Nate Hobbs. This is day one of practice, and we're talking about already some hits that you don't want to see. And the reason you don't want to see it, the reason that Matt LaFleur was trying to get ahead of this, is because it can hurt the team, right? We love Josh Jacobs, and he is a bell cow. But I'm eager to see what Marshawn Lloyd has. He seems like he has all the gifts to be a special running back and to fit well in the system. And you can't do that if there's an injury or something that occurs that is completely needless when it's a player-on-player type hit. So hopefully this is the last warning that Nate Hobbs has. But from my experience, when a guy has a mentality like this, it's really hard for him to switch it off. So Matt LaFleur, Jeff Hafley, good luck trying to figure out a way to cool Hobbs down as you try to ramp up intensity of practice.
Yeah, and in fairness to Nate Hobbs, I did not see the play, so I don't know if his hit was questionable or not. We'll find out when I talk to some of my colleagues, one, but two, when we get to locker room and we talk to some people. But bottom line, did we learn nothing from the cast of High School Musical? We're all in this together. All right, we need to get to Wonelli. We'll have more updates as practice rolls on.
I didn't know you had a High School Musical reference in you there.
Oh, I love High School Musical.
I did not see that coming.
I always wanted to, if I had a different childhood, maybe I could have been like Zac Efron, both in the musical and playing sports, although, he was the star of the team, and I don't think I would have been that. But be that as it may.
A little full of himself.
I don't think that's fair. I thought he was a really good teammate from what I could see on the basketball team.
No, Zac Efron's a little full of himself.
Oh, yeah. Well, if you were Zac Efron, you'd be full of yourself too, because you're full of yourself now, and you're just Jesse Nelson.
That's true. Takes one to know one. Yeah.
Indeed. All right, we've got more from practice. Wonelli's next. It's Wilde Tausch.
This is Wilde Tausch, driven by Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie on 100.5 ESPN. See their full inventory at ZimbrickChevrolet.com.
Mark Tauscher here to tell you a little bit more about Everlight Solar. We all know that electricity costs are on the rise. That's why you need to talk to my friends over at Everlight Solar. Their local team here in Madison is here to keep it simple. From your no-cost consultation to solar panel installation, the team at Everlight Solar will be with you every step of the way. Not only will they help you save money, but by switching to solar, you're also helping save the planet. Everlight Solar, a proud partner of Wisconsin Athletics. Check them out at everlightsolar.com.
To help those who want to be helped, but may not be able to afford it.
That's what PGA Tour winner Grayson Murray had envisioned for a foundation before he sadly took his own life at just 30 years old. His parents channeled their grief into creating the Grayson Murray Foundation, carrying out his vision to help those struggling with mental health and addiction. To donate and learn more, visit GraysonMurrayFoundation.com.
Take your game to the next level with Vortex Golf. This employee-owned brand out of Wisconsin brings you premium rangefinders like the Blade, Blade Slope, and the Anarch, packed with features like image stabilization, pin spotter mode, and rock-solid accuracy. Backed by a legendary no-questions-asked VIP lifetime warranty and unmatched customer service, Vortex has you covered. Ready to upgrade your gear? Visit MapleHillGolf.com and search Vortex to see the full lineup. Vortex Golf, you can bet on it.
Hi, this is Lee, inviting you to Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in Middleton. We got a great happy hour every day of the week from 4 o'clock to 7, and our patio during the summer is open too. If you're getting married, special occasion, a birthday, anniversary, or even a business meeting, we've got all the accommodations right here at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. You work hard and sometimes you're not sure what you want to do, where you want to spend your money. I want to encourage you to come into Ruth's Chris Steakhouse and say hello. It'd be a pleasure to meet you.
It's always a beautiful experience coming out to the ballpark. Many fans prep in the parking lot amongst our legendary tailgaters. When you're ready for new windows and doors, prep for those at the Pella Experience Center in Brookfield. See, feel, open, close, and compare dozens of window and door options from different Pella lines side by side. And if you order by July 31st, get 0% interest for up to 5 years on Blue Mountain Road, or visit PellaWI.com today.
Bringing summer gatherings to the next level is just another thing we do at Celebrations Entertainment. Hi, it's Jeffrey. With rental items like sound equipment, photo booths, and even yard games, you can make your event the party that everyone talks about. Any event like graduation parties, block parties, or even a backyard barbecue can be elevated with fun, interactive items to make everyone ask, hey, how'd you pull this off? Just tell them celebrationsentertainment.com. That's celebrationsentertainment.com.
Your Honda gets you everywhere. When it needs service, you need Zimbrick Honda service. Their customer service is second to none, and you can experience it for yourself at 2 convenient Madison service locations on Fish Hatchery Road and Grand Canyon Drive. From simple maintenance to expert repairs, Honda certified technicians handle it all. Stop in for an express oil change at Fish Hatchery Road on Saturdays. No appointment necessary. Part of the Madison community since 1973. Shop local. Shop Zimbrick Honda.
Gear up for Quick Trip's Mountain Dew Quick Climb. Now through August 17th. Play free daily in the Quick Rewards app and earn bonus plays with every eligible purchase. Grab one with hot food. That's 2 bonus plays. Each week, the cash prize climbs by $5,000, all the way to a $250,000 grand prize. So open the app and get climbing. Your summer, your climb, your win. No purchase necessary. Open to U.S. residents residing in Illinois, Iowa, Minnesota, Michigan, South Dakota, North Dakota, or Wisconsin. Ends August 17th. Bonus plays require qualifying purchase. See full rules at quicktrip.com/sweepstakes.
We're on the Packers.
This is an enormous season
because we're on Wisconsin sports.
And it's not just for Jordan Love.
Nobody covers the green and gold like 100.5 ESPN.
Don't ever say it's over if I'm breathing. Racing to the moonlight and I'm speeding. I'm headed to the stars, ready to go far. I'll start walking. Don't ever say it's over if I'm breathing. Racing to the moonlight and I'm speeding. I'm headed to the stars, ready to go far. I'll start
Got some 11 on 11 down at my end of the field now. It is not the one. It's the 3 quarterbacks that aren't named Jordan Love. and a bunch of guys that are keeping the dream alive, including Sam Brown, who I want to talk about a little bit more before we run out of show. But before that, it's time for Wonelli.
If the topic is good, the guys discuss.
Just the other morning I had breakfast at Tracy Rocker's house. His mama brought out 15 flapjacks. He said, Mama, take back 5 of them flapjacks. I gotta stay hungry for the Crimson Tide.
But if it's not, the show must go on. It's time for
Whoa, Nelly!
On Wilde Tausch.
All right, as always, during this time of the year, Jason, if anything relevant happens during Wonelli, please feel free to interrupt. I will not be offended, and I know you would anyway.
Okay.
Whoa,
I don't know about that. I will not be offended part. That's you'll try not to be offended, but you might still be a little offended.
Maybe it depends what we're talking about. So I did watch on Friday evening the Alumni Home Run Derby at American Family Field, celebrating the 25th anniversary of the stadium. Ryan Braun, Prince Fielder, Keon Broxton was the winner. Corey Hart. Even some of the other guys that didn't participate in the Home Run Derby. George Kataris was the catcher for the Home Run Derby. Ed Cedar, the old first base coach, was the pitcher for the Home Run Derby. Giovanni Gallardo, very gray beard for Giovanni Gallardo. He was looking a little old, but it was really cool to see a lot of the guys that I was, closest with cheering on the teams from like 2008 to 2014, and then some back in celebrating American Family Field. Wish the Brewers would have got a win leading into the contest afterward, but I thought across the board the Brewers did a fantastic job bringing everyone back, and the party was on Friday, and it looked like the fans who were in attendance at the stadium had an absolute blast. Did either of you guys catch much of the Alumni Home Run Derby or the festivities that ensued on Friday and really carried over all weekend long? Brad?
I did not see it live. I saw a lot of clips on social media after the fact, and I loved it. I thought it was an absolutely brilliant marketing move. There's something about seeing their batting stances that just took me back. It just those guys like Fielder and Braun, Giovanni Gallardo. I even saw JJ Hardy in the scrum of it celebrating. These are guys that I grew up loving the Brewers, but there wasn't a whole lot to root for in the 90s and early 2000s. These are the guys that really took fanhood to a next level. You've got real deep memories of watching. So just to see them back all together, it brought back all the feels. And you have to give credit to those guys for helping create the Brewers as they are today. A winning franchise, consistent, high expectations. You don't have this team today without those teams back then. And I'm just thankful that I got to be a big fan of the team as that building process occurred. And it was just so good. It was like seeing old friends again is what it was like. So I thought it was beautiful.
Well, first of all, Jesse, thanks for explaining why Giovanni Gallardo was there. Because when I saw the initial news of this event, I was super confused. Was Giovanni Gallardo that good of a hitting pitcher that he was taking part in the home run derby?
I mean, he was, and he did.
He was.
Yeah.
I know that. I know he did actually, but still probably not good enough as you would put him in a home run derby. The second thing is, I thought it was great, and I didn't watch it live either. Like Brad, I saw the clips. The other thing I wanted though, I wanted an old timers game. I always enjoy those. They used to do during the All-Star weekend back in the 70s and 80s, which I know is long before either of you came along. But Ted Williams would be hitting off of Warren Spahn. And yes, the pitches would be, lobbed in there like batting practice. But I'm, as Matt Carney sings, drowning in nostalgia. I love that kind of nostalgic stuff. And so this was good. But this was not my era. I was disappointed that, Gorman Thomas wasn't able to limp out there and hit a few out of the park. Rob Deere, Robin Yount, Ben Ogilvy, those type of guys.
Whoa, Nelly!
I will say, just real quick, baseball is one of the few sports you can actually pull something like this off. If we tried to, resurface the 90s Packers team, you just can't do it, right? It doesn't look the same. It's not possible. So baseball is one of the few sports you can actually do this with. So kudos to the Brewers for making it happen.
Can't wait till the Bucks reunite that 2021 NBA Finals team, and they have a 25th anniversary. And
for a dunk contest?
Play a little 3-on-3, or have a dunk contest. Yeah, that'd be fun.
3-point shooting competition.
So the Brewers did drop 2 out of 3 over the weekend to the Miami Marlins. They enter tonight's game against the Chicago Cubs, matching best records in the National League, tied for first place in the NL Central standings. We talked about it at the top of the show. Brad, for those who missed it, or if there's anything else that's ensued since, huge game. Brewers-Cubs, first of a 3-game set at American Family Field. The last 3 that the two teams will play in Milwaukee in the regular season in 2025.
I mean, this is a critical series. Looking at it, whoever comes away with, a big, maybe if there's a sweep or not, whether it be this series or the series in a couple weeks, those are going to be critical games to do full game leads in front of the other team, because whether it be the Cubs or the Brewers, they're hard to beat, and they're going to be hard to catch for whoever loses out on the final 8 games between the Cubs and the Brewers, if there's any lopsided nature of how those games go. So these are critical. Cubs, Brewers, always a big deal. But you got Mizorowski on the mound with Peralta and Priester. You're going against the Cubs' best pitchers of their rotation. So it's going to be fireworks. It's going to be, yeah, that's right. It's going to be awesome. And, to see this team grow from what was early headlines of torpedo bats and basically not having enough pitchers to take the mound, to now being a team that has an abundance of wealth at the pitching position and, tied for best record in the NL, just goes to show long seasons, and this is where it really starts to matter even more so down the line. So I'm stoked. I can't wait to watch tonight.
Jason, you going to be dialed in tonight?
Maybe. I might put it on while I'm writing tonight instead of Law and Order reruns. I will say this. I'm a little bit nervous because, they've been such a great story, and they've won so many. They lost 2 in a row to the Marlins before the walk-off yesterday, right?
Yep.
I'm a little nervous that they're going to have at some point a regression to the mean. And I'm not saying that they're not going to be a playoff team or those, but when you have a streak like that, like they had 11 in a row, it feels like there's sometimes a market correction and you hit a little bit of a rough patch. Hopefully, whenever that hits, it's not too damaging, and then they move past it and get hot again. So I don't know when that's going to be, but 162 games, man. Like, we're sitting here talking about 18 game schedule for the NFL. 162 games. God, that's a lot. There's a lot that can go on over that span, and hopefully things just keep going as well as they have been for that club.
Whoa, Nelly! Did want to share this stat that I heard yesterday. The Brewers, with their comeback win against the Marlins yesterday, avoided a sweep at American Family Field, which continues their streak now lasting more than 2 seasons since they were last swept at home at American Family Field. The last team to do so does not exist anymore.
Don't say it.
The Oakland Athletics.
Oh, wow.
When Tausch and I and Dunzo all pronounced the 2023 season dead, when the Oakland Athletics did it in June of 23. That is the last time the Brewers were swept in a 3-game series or more at American Family Field.
And did you learn your lesson from that, Jesse? Like our show that day, it is still burned into my brain.
Yeah.
How the two of you and your little clown boy just wrote off the rest of the year. And I love the revisionist history now too, right? Like we brought Dunzo out of the bullpen. You crushed him for getting swept by the Athletics. And now, like when we retell that story, you two claim, oh no, we were just saying, it was just, they were Dunzo, they weren't going to win the World Series. We weren't saying they weren't making the playoffs, which is a bald-faced lie. You canceled the rest of the season. When Dunzo comes out of the bullpen, that is what you have done. So you two, I know Tausch isn't here, so I'm screaming at the wind, but you two need to own the fact that you wrote off that team. They've been, again, it's you guys, whether it was you with calling for Pat Murphy's job or what you did then, great job, because you've managed to bring them all kinds of success as you've done it.
Yeah, that was the spark they needed in 23. The Pablo birthday bash conversation about Pat Murphy this year, the spark the 25 team needed. I think they listen. I think I pick my spots accordingly, Jason. I think that's what we've learned here on Wilde Tausch the last few years.
Yeah, I just don't know why you guys have to be the way you are. But I love you anyway, and we look forward to Tausch's return next week from his summer sabbatical. But man, are we lucky to have such great cousin subs, including Brad Nortman. All right, Brad Nortman has one more segment with us, but he's got 3 more hours of radio with those knuckleheads this afternoon, live from Potawatomi with the KBN crew. Tune in, great show. I believe I appear on that program on Mondays, so especially a good show around 3:15. But we will roll on, wrap things up here as the Packers continue their special teams period. Brad would be right in his element watching Daniel Whelan swing away. It's Wilde Tausch.
We're on the Packers.
There's a lot of guys that have shown they belonged.
Because we're on Wisconsin Sports.
I don't know if they've shown that they have staying power and that they're really, really good.
Nobody covers the green and gold like 100.5 ESPN.
Mark Tusher here for Chalmers Jewelers. I've been a big fan of Scott, Garrett, and the whole team at Chalmers Jewelers for years now. I go there, my friends go there, and most importantly, my wife loves it whenever I get her something from Chalmers Jewelers. It's my go-to spot for birthdays, anniversaries, and any special occasion. For quality jewelry and a great experience, choose Chalmers Jewelers, the place to go for that perfect gift. Stop at Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton and Madison.
Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton
and Madison.
Rah. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Pablo Iglesias.
This Badger Minute is brought to you by Bruner Realty, providing excellent real estate and property management services in the Madison area for over 30 years. Contact their team at BrunerRealtyInc.com to get housed today. Luke Fickell putting a 5-7 season behind him with 2025 on the horizon. The head coach on tackling the new year after the previous failed to meet expectations.
That's not the standard. That's not the expectation by any ways. I was not brought here thinking that that's in any way what it is that we expect. But what last year does do is it gives us an opportunity to be able to self-reflect. It gives us an opportunity to recognize things that we need to continue to be able to change. And I think that's what was most important as we attacked December and January for us in our program.
For windows with the strongest resilience, you need the Pella Experience. Get 0% interest for up to 5 years if you order by July 31st at PellaWI.com.
Chevy trucks have you covered when the road takes you from smooth sailing to Chevy Colorado will eat up some of the toughest terrains with 5 available drive modes. And Silverado and Silverado HD have the muscle to take you out for some serious with multiple engine options and impressive towing. While Silverado EV is the perfect combo of performance and capability. Nice. Making it a snap to hitch up this electric truck and hit the road. Wherever the road leads, Chevy trucks are right there with you. Chevrolet, together let's drive.
Brew Crew Tuesdays are back on July 29th.
Churio sends it deep to left, and there she goes.
Catch the Brewers on local TV as they battle the Chicago Cubs.
And Yelich launches one deep right center field. Forget about it. Oh, my goodness. Third down.
This edition of Brew Crew Tuesdays is presented by Delta Dental of Wisconsin. Tune in July 29th at 6:40 on WISC-TV in Madison, or check your local listings to watch the game.
Live the high life at Nitty Gritty, home of the famous Gritty Burger in Madison's official birthday place. Celebrate your birthday at Nitty Gritty and receive a free memento birthday mug to fill with free beer, specialty birthday cocktails, or soda all day long. The Nitty Gritty has celebrated almost 900,000 birthdays, and birthday celebrant number 900,000 will receive a $1,000 Amex gift card. Grab some friends and celebrate your birthday at the Nitty Gritty, located in Madison, Middleton, and Sun Prairie. The Nitty Gritty, a tradition since 1968.
It's ESPN Wisconsin's Ben Bruss talking about our friends at Road America, America's National Park of Speed. Get out of your house this summer and go to Road America, located conveniently between Green Bay and Milwaukee and Elkhart Lake. Come see a race at the legendary 4-mile, 14-turn road circuit that has hosted some of the best races since 1955. Motul Sports Car Grand Prix featuring IMSA is up next on July 30th through the 1st of August. Camp on site all weekend and enjoy free admission for kids 16 and under with a paying adult at the gate. Come for the experience and stay for the race. Get your tickets at roadamerica.com.
After a storm, even seemingly small damage can lead to major problems. If your roof or siding took a hit with this recent storm, your insurance may cover the damage, but the process is still a nightmare. Badgerland Exteriors makes it seamless. They'll guide you through every step and get your family's home back in tip-top shape just as fast as that storm ripped through.
Contracting made easy is more than a tagline. It's how we run our family business. Visit BadgerlandExteriors.com to get started on your next project. That's BadgerlandExteriors.com.
We're on the Badgers.
Team's in a good spot. Culture's in a really good spot.
Because we're on Wisconsin Sports.
And now it's just about, hey, can you get back to that bowl game and hopefully get one or two of those marquee ones.
This is 100.5 ESPN and Wisconsin On Demand.
This ain't a good time, but when is it ever? I know the perfect time, and maybe that's never. So don't you dare leave me now. Throw my heart on.
Wrapping up Wilde Tausch with Brad Nortman as our cousin sub of the day. The two spotting of 11 on 11 continues, and I'm at the non-starters end of the field, which is where I belong. Because I know that what Love does and what all those guys do down at that end is important, no doubt about it. But man, Brad, I love rooting for the underdog. Sam Brown yesterday with a couple of big catches at the end. He was just the guy that we knew was teammates with Matthew Golden, and he's in a crowded wide receiver room. I don't like his chances, but he's wearing number 17, just like his idol Devontae Adams did, totally by happenstance. That's the kind of stuff that makes the NFL special, is when guys like that get some opportunities, and hopefully it leads to something like that. I'm sure you were that way as a teammate as well, rooting for the underdog.
Oh yeah, easy to root for the underdogs. Love seeing those stories come to fruition, and it makes the game of football and the NFL beautiful.
Yeah, it's a really remarkable aspect of training camp, and we'll see who those feel-good stories are as training camp rolls on. All right, that's it for us today. Thanks to Brad for being our cousin sub of the day, and thanks to you for coming along for the ride with us. Have a great day. Take care. Be good.
Miss any of today's episode of Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin? Commercial-free full show podcasts are available free on the ESPN Wisconsin.